gonna be so funny when this guy inevitably gets called out for sexting teen girls on Discord.
Who wants someone to be a pedophile, bro? That's crazy. Couldn't be me, bro. That couldn't be me. Joe Cat's like, I like women of all body types. This nigga's like, oh, so you're a you're a pedophile, huh? So you're a pedophile, huh?
Guys, look, it's gonna be so funny. I'm gonna sexually assault him while he's sleeping. Oh, wouldn't it be so funny if I came on him while he was sleeping?
It would be bad for someone to say, well, I don't want my kids growing up in that hood-like culture. Just like it would be bad for another person to say something like, I don't want my bloodline to end up with less melanin. So many leftists were siding with a eugenicist just so they can shit on Shark.
From what I've seen, he also clips you out of context. Clip me out of context. Wait, hold on. You're telling me that a left YouTuber clipped me out of context while making a video attacking other people on the left? Ah, no, I'm not a fascist, okay? I just think democracy has failed the people, and the only way to move forward is to have a single, highly intelligent, technocratic leader. Like, no one knows what a Nazi is anymore, so, like, you know, it's like people are just getting punched for being white. The genocide of white people is good. Scientifically proved that being trans is fake and bad and Jewish. Racism.
What does that mean?
It means context sensitive. It's sensitive to context.
Oh yeah, we're going there. I'ma just be upfront with y'all. This video took me a lot longer than I wanted it to. And I'm gonna be even more in front. I'm recording, this is the last thing that I am recording, and I'm just gonna record this and put it at the very beginning of the video, mainly because I don't like the way I don't like my original intro, and I'm just gonna record this so it can be better, and so also so I can be like very brutally fucking honest, because I don't want to sit here and pretend that I'm doing this for different reasons. I'm going to be very upfront with you about the reasons why I'm even covering these topics in the first place. In a way, I tried a little bit too hard to weave a theme into all the things that I'm going to cover in this video series. But the fact of the matter is, the thing that really ties all of these things together is the fact that all of the events that I'm going over have done an immaculate job, and I mean an immaculate job, of pissing me the fuck off. That's the theme of this entire video series. Thing A has pissed me the fuck off. Thing B has pissed me the fuck off. Thing C has also pissed me the fuck off. If this whole thing was going to be a lot shorter than it ended up turning out to be, because the original version of this video, this was just going to be like a whole video discussing like a bunch of different lefty drama incidents, and then just leaving it at that. But unfortunately, the third thing that I was going to cover ended up getting so far out of hand. It essentially took over this entire series, which now it is basically the main point of the series. Sort of. The main point of the series is the fact that it pissed me off. Like that's the whole thing. It pissed me off, and I want to talk about it. That's why I'm going over this. But if you want a secondary like thesis, the secondary thesis is just like, there is so much toxicity in these online spaces, especially the online space that I occupied, left-wing spaces. The original iteration of this video was written 2 years ago. Now, here we are, January 2026, where I'm like recording the final fucking thing of this. Well, I'm just now recording the intro. Most of the editing is done. I'm just recording the intro because I don't like the original intro, which is another reason why this whole series took me so long, is because I don't like releasing trash anymore. I don't want to release content that I'm not proud of. If I'm not proud of it, I'm not releasing it. Simple as. And the funny thing is that all of the shit that I have recorded and edited that you're going to be seeing in a minute, all of that is re-recording. I mean, I recorded every minute of this video, mainly because of audio issues, but also because I didn't like the way my performance was in the first recording. Did you know that YouTube videos are performance art? Crazy concept, I know. I am performing right now. I am literally being a clown. I'm just being real. That's what it is. Let's go on to the first subject, to where my past self discusses internet drama. So yeah, let's just start with that. Let's see what past Twisty has to say about online internet drama. Do some of y'all think it's weird or like strange that so many people on this planet are just astronomically obsessed with drama? I'm not. I actually think it makes perfect sense given how human society works. I mean, no matter how you slice it, you can't escape the fact that drama is a very entertaining thing. When you take that into account, it shouldn't be surprising to anyone to go from that and logically conclude that drama is in fact a very profitable concept, because entertainment is profitable. Duh, that's just par for the course. We live in a capitalist society. That's what happens, bro. You fucking entertainment profitable. Drama is entertainment. Drama is just profitable, but just by default. You can't escape that reality. That's just how it is. You know, people can engage with this concept in a creative outlet. Like I said, you can write interesting stories or whatever, or you can be a toxic motherfucker on the internet and start beef with literally everybody on YouTube that you come across in order to gain more attention and thus profit off of said attention, because social media and YouTube are very attention-based platforms. More attention you get, inevitably you're going to end up making a lot of money off of it. That's just how it is. People will hate watch your content, and by hate watching your content, you get views, and by getting more views and attention to your channel, YouTube finds you more profitable, you make more money off of it, especially if your content is monetized. It's a whole thing. You get a lot of money from that shit. Don't tell me that there isn't a monetary incentive to engage in drama for one reason or another. But if you don't want to do that, of course you can go the alternative route and just fucking profit off of other people's drama and pretend to be a YouTube journalist, a news channel. Don't even get me started on TMZ, bro. Don't even get me started on those mofos.
Tipsy Rose was legally married to Ryan Anderson when she first got out of jail. However, Ken Urker was her original prison bae. Like, when she first went to prison, you know how they have those little pen pal love relationships? Ken was the original, like, her original man. But then Brianna Chicken Fry, her relationship status, she's opening up about it. You know, she dated Zach Bryan. It was so drama when they broke up. And she's still talking about that relationship. Also, Mr. Beast, arguably the biggest YouTuber around, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of subscribers. Mr. Beast has found his Mrs. Beast.
Okay, Gypsy Rose Blanchard's daughter was born on the 1-year anniversary of her release from prison.
Clap it up for prison. Oh, not that, but for the baby. You know.
At least she didn't have it in prison. I respect.
Quick question. How do people watch this shit? No, I'm genuinely asking. How do you watch this? How do you consume this garbage? Who sits down for hours and thinks about some random celeb's baby and their relationships and breakups? Is that, are your lives so dull that this is what you were? Oh, okay. The fact that TMZ even exists tells me all I need to know about how obsessed we are with drama. Yes, and I do mean we, by the way. I'm not excluding myself from that. And if you really want an example of what I'm talking about, Fucking look at Steve Wilkos. He pretty much capitalizes and profits off of a bunch of random people's relationship drama, and even also capitalizes off of sexual assault allegations, and even putting people through these stupid ass, phony ass lie detector tests to determine whether or not the person actually did sexually assault someone or not. It's very weird. The concept is just like, oh, is this person cheating? Let's go to the lie detector test. Is this person a rapist? Let's go to the lie detector test. Steve Wilkos' whole brand is fucking stupid and ridiculous.
Did you hit your 6-month-old daughter?
Did I?
Causing any of those injuries? He answered no. He did not tell the truth.
You know what? Y'all can have it. I would hurt my dad for nothing to worry.
You did?
And if you want another example, look no further than Dr. Phil and everything he does. Just look at any episode of Dr. Phil's show, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And speaking of Dr. Phil,
all new Dr. Phil House.
We have a very intense hour of television. Tempers got a little hot. Some graphic language was used.
Tempers are flaring in the house of hatred.
Look at me. Cry later. Look at me now.
It's Dr. Phil like you've never seen him before.
You need to wake up, boy. This is probably his last chance. This is kind of fills your book, doesn't it? This is exactly what you believe, right? Just an absolute worthless, no good tub of lard behaving like some kind of idiot.
Yes.
Are you that shallow? Yet I asked the remaining house guests to challenge themselves with an exercise that would put them in close personal space with the one person they say they hate the most.
this man put a bunch of people that hate each other in one house. Well, not entirely people that hate each other. People with prejudices. Puts a black woman in the house with a fucking racist white supremacist. Puts a fat dude in the house with a woman that hates fat people. Puts a homophobe in a room with a gay woman. Like, all kinds of crazy shit. This man is insane, bro. The whole thing is exploitative. And honestly, that's the whole problem with this entire thing right there. Yeah, you thought I was denouncing drama, weren't you? No, not by a long shot. Like I said before, trying to denounce drama is like trying to denounce swimming from the fish community. Like, there's no way we can get rid of this. We humans are a social species. Drama is literally part of our existence. What I'm denouncing is exploitation. Because the fact of the matter is, this obsession with drama leads people down the path of exploiting others just to capitalize on that obsession. So when we look back at what goes on with content creators on YouTube, we shouldn't be surprised to find channels like Drama Alert, Philip DeFranco, or even Scarce coming out of the woodwork to give you the latest scoop on PewDiePie's favorite new word.
What a fucking...
And you know what? Speaking of Keemstar, I think we should take a brief gander at this guy's history because it is very interesting.
Everybody type in the chat.
It's no secret to anyone that spent a decent amount of time on the internet that Keemstar is a massive cunt. Like, a huge fucking cunt. Like, this guy is as scummy as cummy can be. Wait, what did I just say? Well, the thing about that is, most of the internet really didn't care up until we started seeing videos like this pop up.
This is the Keemstar rant and response, and let's get Roy into this shit.
Keemstar is a fucking tumor on this website, mate. And his channel is cancer. Drama Alert is fucking cancer, man.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. So I know I said this in the past 2 videos, and it's almost becoming a meme at this point in time, but I really never thought I would be making a 3rd video on Keemstar and Drama Alert.
There were hundreds of videos like this popping up from around like mid 2016, 2015. Lots of Keemstar rant and expose videos. It was something, to say the least. It was definitely an era of YouTube, that's for sure. And again, Keemstar is a shitty person, and he is well worthy of criticism. Keemstar and his entire channel revolves around making a spectacle of various content creators on YouTube. Keemstar is responsible for perpetuating countless false accusations levied at other content creators. And he does this all in the name of content. One example of this that I can remember is when Keemstar took a story about Basherverse, who had got arrested for chatting with a 15-year-old girl, I think via text messages. While he was himself at the time 18 years old, Keem took that story and he extrapolated that to conclude that Basherverse was a pedophile and ran a story about that for his Drama Alert channel. I did a little bit of an oopsie here. I may have screwed up a little bit with the retelling of this story. What actually happened is that Keemstar just simply heard a rumor and then decided to spread that on his channel. What actually happened was that Keemstar didn't extrapolate anything, not even really at all. Instead, he got the series of events completely wrong.
This Minecraft YouTuber known as Basher is a registered sex offender. Apparently, from what I heard from other YouTubers, is that Sky Does Minecraft was launching a company or something, and that, you know, Sky did background checks on everyone, and apparently there was some type of background check that came back, and, you know, there was this thing where Basher was arrested for apparently trying to have sex with a child. This was not recent, but around 11 years.
I fail to see how something that happened literally 11 years prior is important enough to discuss on your channel, but go off, I guess.
We didn't know if it was true or not. We found out later it was, because after we asked him and he denied it, he acted first by uploading a 45-minute video to his channel explaining what happened.
My best friend in the world, we'd always go over to his house, and he had a sister who was younger than me. You know, I was a teenager and stuff. A lot of you are teenagers. You know what it's like to have someone cheat on you or break up with you for no reason and things like that. It's just the worst feeling in the world, right? Well, at the time, it was for me too. And his sister was there for me. She actually talked to me a lot about it and consoled me and was there for me while I was going through all this hell. We started talking online and we had feelings for each other. And her parents had started kind of getting like the vibe that we had a thing going on. Like we liked each other. And they didn't like that at all, because she had just turned 15. And she was 15 years old, and I had just turned 18. So her parents hired a private detective to watch us. And we would talk online, and we would get pretty intimate. Things were said online, and nothing was ever acted upon. But one day when I woke up, there was a knock on my door, and there was a guy that I don't know who the heck he is, and he introduced himself as a private investigator. They ended up arresting me, and they put me in jail. I went to court, and they brought me up to the podium, and they said, "You're being charged with a Class A misdemeanor, unlawful transaction with a minor." My lawyer was like, "You were so freaking lucky because you could have gone to prison and stuff like that." I'm like, "For that? What the?"
And this 45-minute video of manipulation makes the viewer walk away from his video thinking that Basher is a victim.
The reason Keemstar is even saying this is because in the full video, Basher doesn't just talk about the specific case, he talks about his whole life story, his whole tragic life story. I didn't even feel like putting that in the clips that I showed you because I don't have time for that, but yeah, Basher did end up doing a lot of that. Having watched the full video, I didn't really get the vibe that it was more so emotional manipulation, but it was actually, to me, it comes off as him just trying to get a bunch of shit off his chest more than anything else. I don't think it really mattered to him as much whether or not it was relevant to the accusation. And the guy was genuinely having a mental breakdown. I mean, like, you can't really fake that. I know what a panic attack looks like. That's, yeah. Mind you, I didn't say that Basher wasn't trying to get a lot of sympathy, because I genuinely believe that he actually was trying to get sympathy. I don't blame him. I mean, if you want people to listen to you and take you seriously and hear you out, whether you're guilty or not, you want to get sympathy from the people that are listening to you.
He most likely lied about the details of this. He says he was 18 and the girl was just 15, but he told other YouTubers, he told Sky Does Minecraft, that the girl was only 13. He released an article from his local newspaper saying that he was 20 at the time.
I'm gonna be honest, I actually think this is perfectly fair for Keemstar to bring up. I mean, if you're listing off a bunch of different ages, then your story really isn't making a lot of sense, is it? I don't know how this confusion came about, I don't know where this comes from, but Keemstar does later learn that Basher was in fact telling the truth about the ages. He was 18, she was 15. And you know, it's really funny that Keemstar started to accuse Basher of emotional manipulation when he starts doing shit like this in the same video.
I'm a parent, man. I'm a parent of a young young little beautiful girl that I love more than anything. And it's really hard if you're not a parent to feel the same exact way that I am. But if you are a parent, then you know exactly what I'm saying, man. When you hear about adults trying to have sex with children, it just infuriates you. How can I look at my daughter in the eyes? How can I look at her in the eyes and know that there was this monster surrounded by all these kids and I didn't do anything? What kind of parent would I be?
Well, and of course, you got to throw some fear-mongering in there for good measure.
And the fact that this dude is able to manipulate so many children into thinking he is a victim is even more scarier. That means that he has this level of manipulation that he could potentially use to go after more children. And now he's a big Minecraft YouTuber that's surrounded by children.
Keemstar made multiple videos about Basherverse and the whole drama situation, plus more things surrounding Basher that I'm not even going to get into because it's not important for this video. But just know that there's a whole YouTube playlist out there where you can see the videos and you can see that Keemstar was basically just milking this for all it's worth. And keep in mind, Keemstar's getting this worked up over a rumor he has yet to prove. He has not proved any of what he's getting mad about. But despite how concerned he seems, despite how much he wants to make it seem like he's doing this to save the kids or fighting for children or to save victims or whatever, he's only doing this for content and nothing else. And later on, he quickly changed his tune once he realized that he was wrong in the first place.
Today we have Basherverse here for an interview. Basically, the Drama Alert team did more research into what happened with Basher 11 years ago, and we can now confirm that the ages were 18 and 15, not 20 and 13. I wanted to get Basher on here first to apologize.
All right, I know for a fact that somebody's going to bring this up, so I'm just going to throw this out there and be done with it so I can move on. Yes, it did later come out that Basher had been sexually harassing his 17-year-old fan. I think like one or two or three victims came forward with their story. As an avid believer of believe the victim, I'm going to believe them. I'm not going to say that they're lying. Even if we accept that that's true, it doesn't erase the fact that the case that Keemstar made a stink about was completely built around falsehoods. And there's also so much more about Basher and what happened to him and everything like that. And there's a lot of more shady shit. Mostly Basher is guilty of basically kind of abusing his power as a content creator, but also Keemstar just generally milking the whole Basher thing for all it's worth and just being generally a shady content creator. Also, yes, I'm aware Basher has passed away. I found this out literally as I was writing the script for this segment. I didn't even know. He unfortunately passed away from COVID, so there's also that there. I covered all the ground that I could. Now, I don't need any comments on this video talking about, Twisty, you completely let this part out, you got this wrong, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. Whatever. Shut up. Please. Stop talking. Shut up. No comments. Oh, but don't be mistaken. Don't be mistaken. Keemstar did this to someone else, too. There was a RuneScape streamer at the time who went by the name RS Glory and Gold. He primarily streamed on YouTube and Twitch. At the time of what I'm going to call the incident, RSGG was 62 years old. So what happened was, Keemstar ran a story on Drama Alert accusing RSGG of being a pedophile by linking his identity to an old man who had been arrested and convicted of child molestation. The problem here, of course, was that they were not the same person. The actual convicted pedophile that they were talking about was a completely separate, whole entire human being from RSGG. And Keemstar ran a story on his supposed news channel, assuming that they were the same person. So because RSGG was getting bombarded with a lot of harassment and all kinds of negative comments, probably people telling him to kill himself and all kinds of horrible things, RSGG literally had no other options but to flash his legal ID on camera, on stream, in front of everybody to show that his identity is not the same identity as the convicted pedophile that Keemstar was talking about. Keemstar, of course, didn't buy this. This man literally just decided to assume that RSGG just got a fake ID to cover his tracks. Until he eventually found out how his team linked RSGG's identity to the convicted pedophile.
I'm fucking livid. Fucking livid.
Why?
Because I just found out how they got the information on this story. You know how they fucking got the information on this story?
Oh.
They compared photos and guessed. And then put it in my fucking feed as confirmed. Alright? I'm gonna fucking lose my...
Yeah, you heard that right. These motherfuckers took 2 different photos of 2 different old white dudes and said,
Oh yeah, no, they're the same guy. Yeah, 100%.
I swear, this is one of those rare instances of all white people looking the same. You know that whole trope where like all black people look the same? All cops look at black people like, oh no, you might match a description here over here. This is the first time I've ever seen that happen for a white dude. That's fucking hilarious. If you're gonna do a story accusing someone of being a pedophile, wouldn't it kill you to do some due diligence? And meanwhile, Keemstar was doing everything he could to avoid taking responsibility for something his employees did.
I've never gotten a story wrong. It's always been someone on my fucking team. I know it's my team that got it wrong, but I'm the one that has to take the responsibility. Like, this lands on me. Even though it's really not my fault, it lands on me.
The fact of the matter is, Keemstar could have checked behind them. For something as serious as pedo allegations, he has every responsibility to handle it with the care it deserves. Unfortunately, the content was too enticing to pass up, so he jumped on the false narrative and ran with it because he knew it would get a lot of views. And once he realized he fucked up, all the guilt came rushing in, and he clearly did not know how to handle it. This man got an innocent old man harassed, and if you ask me, it's simply because Keemstar is just a shallow human being. In fact, Keemstar is so shallow, in fact, that he attempted to use money as an easy solution so he can try to dodge the problem. And at the same time, being as condescending as humanly possible to his victim.
I'm 62. I've retired.
Is he crying?
I haven't got my first Social Security check yet, but I'll get it soon.
I'm paying this dude $1,000.
See, I would have sat here for the next 10 years.
Dude, he's poor.
Because I'm not going
to... He doesn't want your money.
I don't give a fuck. He's getting my goddamn money.
It is abundantly clear that Keemstar wasn't upset that he hurt someone. He was upset that it was going to reflect badly on him. That's why he put all the responsibility on his employees. That's why he tried to use money as an easy solution so he doesn't have to deal with the problem anymore. Because to someone like Keemstar, $1,000 is nothing. Whatever, it's a drop in a bucket compared to what he makes. Just throw $1,000 at the problem. Why not? Who gives a shit? Just get the fuck out of here. I don't want to deal with these problems. And to be honest, the reason why people like to throw around pedo allegations is not just for content, but it's also a really good way to get a lot of people, and I mean a lot of people, irrationally, blindly angry at someone. You all remember when Pro Jared was being accused of being a pedophile until he had to come out and like clear up his name with a bunch of receipts?
I have the receipts.
This may seem like a weird tangent to you, but it's actually really important to keep in mind. Pedo allegations are easy to make, destructive, and potentially dangerous. I really don't know what it is with the internet, but this obsession with trying to be like the next Chris Hansen is fucking deranged. People are on the internet right now are looking to see if they can find anyone that might maybe possibly kind of sort of a little bit be a pedophile. You know, it's just not entirely a pedophile. If you slightly seem like a pedophile, you're already a pedophile. That's just how it is. And it's fucking ridiculous. This obsession with pedo hunting is literally one of the reasons why QAnon exists. And it's also one of the things that gives the anti-trans movement its false validity. Like, have you seen Chaya Raychick and Libs of TikTok? And do I need to mention Pizzagate? Do I need to get into that? Or the Balenciaga scandal? We don't need to talk about that, right? I mean, you already know, right? We can just move on from those two subjects so that this video doesn't end up being like, I don't know what, 8 hours? We don't have to talk about that, right? We're all on the same page of how stupid those scandals were, right? We are? We're all good? Okay, cool, awesome. And boy, don't get me started on Chet Goldstein and the EDP thing.
What's up, man? What's up? No fist? Okay. No fist bump? I don't fist bump people like you, man, to be honest. So. Okay.
My God. EDP is still at large right now. The whole stunt that Chet pulled literally did nothing. It did absolutely nothing. Also, Chet Goldstein is super fucking racist, and whenever he does this whole pedo hunting thing, he typically only ever goes after people of certain minority groups. The other person he went after was a Jewish man, and as you've seen in the clip that I showed, EDP is black, so it's safe to say that Chet had some ulterior motives for his whole pedo pursuit, I'll say. Like, guys, seriously, I don't know any other way to put this. Online pedo hunting is dumb. It doesn't stop child abusers, it doesn't save victims, and oftentimes the motives behind pedo hunting on the internet has nothing to do with stopping child abuse. Oftentimes it's for clout, content, racism, transphobia, or homophobia, or all of the above. There are far more effective methods of protecting children. Pretending to be superheroes online is definitely not one of them. Please stop. That out of the way, let's go back to the RSCG situation, because there is another side to that I really feel like touching on. Let's talk about harassment for a moment. You see, here's the ironic twist of it all. Our favorite supervillain, Killer Keemstar, is not only the perpetrator of online harassment, but he's also the victim of it as well. And yes, I do believe he is a victim of online harassment. Okay, I'm gonna have to push back on myself a little bit here, because this is actually the wrong takeaway from how Keemstar was treated. While yes, he was more or less a victim of online harassment, that's not really the biggest issue with how Keemstar was treated. The major issue is with regards to how certain YouTubers have portrayed him. Namely, Leafy is here and Grade A Under A. Just look at the way these two talk about him in their videos.
Keem's just been getting worse and worse, especially recently. A lot of what he's done is privacy intruding, literally life ruining, and YouTube just doesn't feel like the friendly community that it used to be. Well, that shit needs to stop, man. Right? Keem needs to go. And to do so involves you guys.
The man behind the scenes, the man that is pulling the strings, the godly final boss of the internet, the gnome king himself, fucking Keemstar. I swear to God, you can even hear the demons inside of his soul.
How can anyone sympathize with him? Even Hitler thinks this guy's an asshole. That's right, Grade. He's an asshole.
They portray him as a larger-than-life supervillain, like the final boss of a video game. Like, you have to beat him to win the game, essentially. It made Keemstar seem a lot bigger than he actually is, because a lot of them missed the point of what was bad about. And I'm not blaming anybody for this, but the thing that a lot of people missed was this very simple fact. Keemstar is not the only person guilty of all the shit that he's done. In fact, I would argue that a vast majority of people that spend a lot of time on the internet, or a large portion of content creators and just people who spend a lot of time on Twitter in general, are guilty of lots of false allegations, doxing, and like straight up just sending unjustified harassment towards other people. Keemstar is not the only person who does this type of shit, and you'll see later on that he really isn't. They all treated him like, not just all of them, pretty much everybody treated Keemstar like the ultimate villain of YouTube, when instead they should have treated him like a human being who is capable of doing all these horrible things. just like a lot of other people on this platform are capable of doing all of these horrible things. This man became the supervillain of YouTube, and as you'll see later on, it leads to what I end up getting into later on in the segment. Suddenly, like, I don't know, just like overnight, it became cool to hate Keemstar. And I'm gonna be real with you, that is a problem. Not the hating Keemstar part, like, it is perfectly fine to hate Keemstar. I hate Keemstar, I think he's garbage. No. What I'm actually talking about is the fact that it was cool and hip and based to hate Keemstar. See what I did there? I used an outdated term as well as modern cringe terms. Haha, I'm so funny, please laugh. But let's be real, Keemstar did make it cool to hate Basherverse. He also made it really cool to hate RSGG. He also made it really cool to hate Power Cynical or Tobuscus or any other victim of his. Keemstar also pretty much went out of his way to pick a lot of fights with a lot of different people. I mean, to be honest with you, he kind of, in a way, asked for the hate. The problem with shit like this is that it tends to lead to the most unproductive, pointless harassment against people online. But even if someone is like kind of deserving of hate or even criticism, harassing them and bullying them isn't going to stop them from doing the horrible things that you're harassing them for, and it certainly isn't going to make them change their ways in any capacity either. Even if RSGG was a convicted child abuser, bullying him doesn't help his victim. In fact, bullying him could potentially make things worse, because all it'll end up doing is forcing him to go into hiding, so that then he continued to abuse children in the shadows. Thanks, internet, you're helping! But the fact that it was actually innocent is pretty telling, isn't it? People who harass others online aren't doing it out of some kind of noble sense of justice. They're only doing it just so they can kick someone to the ground. Even when it comes to people like Leafy or Keemstar, harassment towards them is still unjustified, no matter how bad they are. Because despite the harassment, Keemstar is still an ass to this day. Sure, he's slightly less popular now, but that had more to do with time and shifting trends than anything else, really. And to be frank with you, honestly, if we really want to get into it, the harassment against Keemstar only made his name more popular for the time that it was going on. And the reason why is because, again, people are drawn to drama like flies are to a dumpster full of dirty diapers. And to take things a step further, if anyone was going to criticize Keemstar, Leafy was the worst person to do it. The thing about Leafy is that his brand was kind of similar to Keemstar's in a way. You see, whereas Keemstar would take random content creators and just run fake stories about them for content to get views and clicks and whatnot, Leafy would instead find content creators and find something funny about them and make fun of them in his videos for content. Essentially, Leafy pretty much made a brand off of basically bullying the shit out of anybody he comes across.
Gosh, it's chore day, and I don't want to do a thing today. This is so awful.
This guy is 100% 5 seconds away from killing everybody in the local Walmart. Everybody in the chips aisle is straight up gonna get it.
Let's do the laundry.
You know, the more I watch this guy, the more I get the assumption that he actually killed his entire fucking family. Like, call me crazy, but when I look at this guy, it really does seem like he's hiding something. This guy is 100% seen a vagina, and he's definitely raped someone. Just look at his face. Look at his fucking face. Whoa, damn, he gets the whole family on this. I mean, shit, he seriously got the whole family on this. He got Uncle Hank right there, and then right by his side, he has Fiona from fucking
There's a plus-size model in the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition.
Okay, so let me get this straight. The reason why you had to make this video was because there's a plus-size model in the swimsuit edition. Wow, dude, she must be really fucking hideous, dude. She must be, like, fucking disgusting. I mean, without a doubt, Nicole Arbor must look 100 times better than this fucking fat piece of shit, right? Are you fucking serious, Nicole? Do you know what you look like? This bitch is thick as fuck, and you look like a witch. You look like if you removed the pounds of makeup that you have, your skin would be cracking. Nicole, a lot of people make jokes like, oh, you look like you're 35 years old. I disagree. I think you look over 100. You look like the fucking witch from The Wizard of Oz, dude. You look like a Walking Dead zombie. Today, I found a video titled Diet Coke versus... What is he wearing? What is he wearing? What the fuck? But today we're gonna be watching one of the most badass motherfuckers on YouTube find a fucking Diet Coke, okay? So
Leafy's whole shtick was just making lolcows out of any content creator he comes across. It really never mattered how big or small that content creator was. Leafy was always there, ready to make a mockery out of them for content. And when it came to Keemstar, Leafy had the veneer of being more serious. But the nature of his Keemstar video was still the same. And the end result is that Keemstar got turned into a lolcow essentially. But here's the question. What the hell is a lolcow anyway? Like, that's a strange word, right? And honestly, it's a word that I've seen pop up time and time again. And for the first time I heard it, I was confused. But having heard it numerous times after that, it's starting to make a lot of sense what a lolcow is. When I looked up the word, the common definition that it always circles back around to is someone who can essentially be milked for laughs. Hence the cow part of it. And another definition that I've seen floating around is that a person whose eccentric and foolish behavior can be exploited to amuse onlookers. Basically, you're that kid that everybody likes to pick on at school. Now, in that scenario, I mean, you know, when you're being bullied and picked on in school, you know, people do that for the purpose of getting a bunch of reactions out of you. People want to see you get angry, and therefore when you get angry, you're only creating more fuel for them to use again to continue to make fun of you. That's basically what the lolcow is. But the thing that's different about the lolcow is the fact that it's basically on the internet. It is like exclusively on the internet. This shit really doesn't happen in person, like, at all. And the fact that it's not in person is pretty damn important, and it's a pretty important distinction there, honestly, because when it's through the internet, there is a large degree of separation. Like, you're not seeing this guy in person because all you see is just somebody on your computer screen. And oftentimes the people that you see on your computer screens are, you know, on television, movies, cartoons, basically people that aren't actually like real people but just exist solely for your entertainment. Essentially, they're just like fictional characters you can do whatever the fuck you want to and with. And the problem is, people end up treating other people on the internet that way, like they're not really human, like they're fictional characters. There's a lot of that going around online, period. It is so common, and when you're a lolcow, it kicks that bad behavior up to 30,000 degrees. Now you're being bullied, but at the same time, you're not even a fucking person anymore. You're just a product to be used for my entertainment. Alright, so it's like you take a little dude and then you put him in a jar. And then afterwards, you take that jar and you shake it violently just to see how he reacts. Oh shit! Oh, he didn't like that very much. Oh, he's pissed. Oh, he's angry. Let's see what happens if I keep on poking the jar. Oh man, now he's yelling at me. Oh, he didn't like that very much. Oh, now he's crying. I must have really set him off now. This is so funny. Now let's see what happens when I put a rabid dog in there. That's essentially what a lolcow is. In my humble opinion, that's my problem with it. Now, being a lolcow is bad enough on its own. But, depending on how popular you are, being a lolcow can be potentially dangerous. Not just for you, but for your family as well. And this is where I point you to Shadbase, a site run by the notorious Shadman. This site doesn't exist anymore, by the way. For those of you that are confused, all you need to know is that Shadman was an NSFW artist, like me. And around 2016, 2017, he was more or less the face of NSFW art on the internet. Basically, everyone knew who Shadman was at the time. And many of us indulged in some of his content. I'm not really much of a fan of him anymore, but I'll have to admit, I do like a lot of his artwork. Not the bad artwork, mind you, because not all of his artwork was lolly or Nazi related. But there were definitely some bangers, and I don't care. There are some artworks of his that I like. So, to go back to Keemstar, since Keemstar was like the talk of the town for a while, Shadman decided to do something that he assumed would be funny. He drew Keemstar's daughter in a very provocative, demeaning fashion. It wasn't like full-on porn or nudity or anything like that. It skirted very, very close to the line. I need you to keep in mind that at the time that Shadman did this, Keemstar's daughter was literally like 8 years old. Shadman's decision to do this shook basically the entire internet. Literally, nobody approved of this shit. Nobody. Save for some sick fucks that probably need to be put on some kind of watch list somewhere. And you may think I'm stretching a bit, but I'm going to be fully blunt with you. I really do blame Leafy for this. Now look, it would be a little unfair to put all the blame on Leafy's shoulders, but let's be real, Leafy did absolutely contribute to this culture of turning Keemstar into a giant, big, bad supervillain. And subsequently, that ended up leading to Keemstar being turned into a lolcow. Being a lolcow is inherently dehumanizing. Once you become a lolcow, people stop seeing you as a person and instead start seeing you as a punching bag. Because people end up feeling like any action taken against you or your family is completely fine and acceptable. And it ends up opening the door to some of the most depraved behaviors imaginable. Even though Keemstar is obsolete and Leafy died in that horrible YouTube strike accident, I'm joking, of course. Leafy is not dead. Leafy is still here. I repeat, Leafy is still here. But yeah, with Leafy gone and Keemstar kind of like not as popular as he used to be, and by extension Drama Alert isn't as popular as it used to be, another YouTube channel would later on come out of the woodwork, which is basically the spiritual successor to both Leafy and Keemstar. His name is Turkey Tom. Turkey Tom is basically the literal combination of honestly all the worst aspects of both Leafy and Keemstar combined. But I will be talking about him much later on. Right now I'll just put a pin on that.
Foreshadowing is a literary device.
Now, going back to Leafy's beef with Keemstar, if you rewatch that video, you can see that Leafy is talking as if he's making these videos to spread awareness and speak up for all of Keemstar's numerous victims. But as it turns out, that was not the case at all.
I know we spoke privately about this, and that's how we're even doing this interview. And, you know, we've made peace. But, you know, for the public's sake, you know, why did you backstab me? In your words.
How can I reasonably justify this? I mean, AdSense was at an all-time high, but
I think that pretty much answered the question. So I think
I can only speak for myself, obviously.
I think money and being successful has always been important.
Oh, shoot, silly me, I'm so sorry. I have neglected to mention something. Did you know that Leafy and Keemstar were once friends before? Oh yeah, that's right. Not only were they friends, I've even gone back to look at some of Leafy's content, and even Leafy is here seemed to kind of like tacitly agree with Keemstar's narrative about Basherverse. But then later on, when it suddenly became popular to shit on Keemstar, all of a sudden Leafy decided to disagree with Keemstar and shit on Keemstar for making false allegations against Basherverse. Crazy how that works, right? Crazy how people's opinions can be shifted depending on how they feel about the particular person.
Oh, the irony! It's too much!
Keemstar was right. When I'm friends with Keemstar, Keemstar was right about Basherverse. Now that I hate Keemstar for money, Keemstar's wrong about Basherverse. But yeah, that's like another thing that you have to look out for in terms of the content creation field, because whenever content creators on YouTube make friends with each other, they rarely ever really last, because they absolutely will turn on each other whenever it's convenient for them. Like for Leafy's case, he turned on Keemstar for profit and money and engage, and honestly, a lot of internet brownie points, because like I said before, it was very cool to shit on Keemstar for a long time, because unfortunately Keemstar kind of was the main supervillain of YouTube for about a year or two. Like Leafy pointed out literally every shitty thing that Keemstar did, while subsequently making himself look like a better, more virtuous person by comparison. And don't get mistaken, Grade A Underrated did the exact same thing too. But that is unfortunately a very common tactic that a lot of content creators on YouTube tend to do. And not even just content creators, just like people who engage online in any online space period. They will absolutely shit on somebody who's branded as the bad guy, look like a really good virtuous hero in the process, and inevitably profit off of that, either through money or just simply a lot of positive attention and engagement. But do you want to know what else is a common tactic for shitty content creators like Leafy and Keemstar to utilize? Well, in this case, Keemstar. Doxing.
On my house address, giving out all of my information. Because
This is his phone number. The guy's from Canada. This is his wife's phone number right here.
And like I said, this is something that Keemstar was absolutely notorious for. Whenever he got criticism from a certain content creators or whatever, he would go full supervillain mode and just start doxing the shit out of them. One example that I can remember is, like, I can't really say that this is specifically doxing, but it is a very dangerous thing that he's done. Is what he did to Pyrocynical. I'm just gonna keep this short and brief. Pyrocynical saw a video from Keemstar that Keemstar released on Drama Alert. Keemstar saw somebody on Tumblr accusing Toby Turner, i.e. Tobuscus, of, I think, rape or sexual abuse. And Keemstar covered this on his quote-unquote news channel. He's talking about this story as if this was a literal fact, like this is exactly what Toby Turner did, when for all anyone knew, these were just simple allegations at the time. These were nothing more than just allegations at the time. And Pyrocynical had a problem with that. He said, he looked at Keemstar's video and he's like, yo, Keemstar, you might want to be careful with how you word that story you're putting on your quote-unquote news channel there, buddy. These are just allegations. I think you might want to tell your audience that these are just simple allegations and nothing else, because you don't want to get an innocent man harassed on the off chance that these allegations might be false. Keemstar, be careful with your wording. That's all I'm asking. Keemstar got mad at this. Keemstar said, no, fuck you. And then Keemstar got mad and said, yeah, Pyrocynical's a pedophile. And then threw a hissy fit on Twitter and started releasing Pyrocynical's full face on his Twitter account. Keep on retweeting it, just plastering it all over the internet. And keep in mind, at the time, Pyrocynical's face was not made public. Like, at all. It wasn't made public. And ironically enough, Grade A Underrated rightly called Keemstar out for this shit. But we will go more into the topic of doxing and the definition of what constitutes as doxing later on, because I think it's an important discussion to get into. And it's actually important for this video. But the point I want to get across is just this. Abuse and exploitation are just completely rampant on the internet. It has become abundantly clear to me that the majority of people who spend lots of time online, especially those whose careers are online, stop seeing other people as human beings online. Instead, they'll see you as something to mock and ridicule and laugh at for amusement. Hell, they'll even threaten your family because seeing you scared and helpless kind of provides some sort of sick pleasure for them. But in another light, you're also a product to be used for entertainment. Every aspect of your life is subject to be made into content for someone else to use so that they can gain profit and attention. And furthermore, you will also be used as a fall guy to alleviate someone else and make them feel morally superior. Every mistake you make will be used against you for mockery and ridicule. Hell, you know what? You don't even have to do anything wrong to receive that treatment. All it takes is a little misunderstanding, or hell, even a deliberate lie, And then suddenly you're Frankenstein's monster. You get to be treated like absolute garbage by everyone around you. But seriously though, like, why do people do this? Why do people want to fight a bad guy so badly? Like I said at the beginning, people are just genuinely obsessed with drama. They like being involved in something that kind of feels important, and they will use anyone they can as fodder to fuel that drama machine and scratch that itch. And they will tell as many lies and misinterpret and over-exaggerate as many things as possible to make sure that that can happen. And it really doesn't matter how many people they hurt, how many lives they ruin, or God forbid how many people they drive to suicide. As long as they get to feel important, as long as they get to feel like heroes, as long as they get to feel like they're sticking it to the bad guy, then they are just a-okay with any consequences, as long as those consequences don't bite them back in the ass. And it's not even just that too, because let's be frank, people do this a lot for, it just makes them feel powerful just in general. Like, for one reason or another, either people are just like feeling disenfranchised and their lives are just feeling hopeless or whatever. They feel powerless in their lives for one reason or another, then they just want to go out of their way to harm somebody and hurt somebody to make themselves feel powerful. Like, let's be real, like, having the power to just completely ruin and destroy someone's life with literally no effort on your part at all, let's be real, that's probably very intoxicating. Like, that power is literally nothing to scoff at. Like, you really don't even have to do much to contribute to completely destroying and hurting someone, because that's pretty much what the internet allows you to do. But again, the bottom line is, people on the internet are looking for as many excuses as possible to abuse each other online. And given the way the internet works, it is far easier to dehumanize someone online than it is to dehumanize someone in person. And that honestly makes it a lot easier to abuse that person. And this is the internet. This is simply how it works in a nutshell. Abuse and exploitation are the name of the game around these parts. If you want to talk about harassment escalating into something dire, then we should take a look at the situation with JoeCat. If you're somehow unaware, JoeCat is a content creator on YouTube. I'm not a fan of him myself, but from what I gather, he's a pretty wholesome and sweet person who plays D&D and video games on his channel. Sadly, being sweet and wholesome isn't enough to save you from controversy. So back in December 2023, there was a funny little video circulating around the internet, and it had caught the ire of thousands of Twitter users.
I like big girls, pretty kitty girls, really witty girls, singing ditty girls. I like the licky girls with the nice thigh.
Now, you might be wondering why this video got a lot of hate. And to be honest, I was wondering that too. I wish I could find the original tweets that were dogging on JoeCat for this. But they are unfortunately extremely elusive. I can't find the original harassment tweets. They probably got banned from Twitter. Which happens often. It happens a lot. A lot of people that engage in online harassment just get fucking banned. I can't tell you how many times I try to go back to find somebody that engaging in harassment to use as an example for this video, and I find that the account just got suspended. Like that has happened so many times. It is hilarious. But from what I remember, people were saying all kinds of crazy shit like, "This guy's a creep! This guy is so cringe! What a porn addict! This guy is objectifying women! Ooh!" All kinds of dumb shit like that. Like, these people were saying like all kinds of like crazy, wild, out of pocket. They were just fire roasting this dude, bro, for no fucking reason. Yeah, new angle, and also recording this on a new day. Shut up. I get it. People made all kinds of like speculations about how he treated his girlfriend, which is just like, really? A meme clip led you to that conclusion? Okay. If this is what it takes to be a content creator online, I don't think I'm cut out for it. Read joecat.net. TLDR, I'm going to finish up my current ongoing projects, and then I'm going to be taking an indefinite break from making content. The timeline of events are: upload, year of silence, Random Twitter users start a hate mob. Months of silence. Another hate mob. Doxing attempt. Suspicious package. Months. Hesse's tweet I mistook for more hate mobs. But like, for the time, the harassment got so bad on Twitter that he just kind of like felt like it was time to throw in the towel and just stop making content like indefinitely. That's no longer the case now. I think he's on YouTube. No, he actually is on YouTube now. He's also on Blue Sky. I don't think he's on Twitter anymore. Y'all see the issue here, right? Where we're talking about like a 40-second meme clip that just for some strange reason had to lead to doxing, bullying, harassment, like all kinds of like dogpiling and even fucking threats. Threats? What? It's such a weird thing too when you think about it, right? Because like the only thing that Joe Cat even really did that, you know, that can be interpreted as wrong was finding women hot or different types of women hot. Is that a crime? What is it? Hold on. I need. Let me. I have to ask a question. All right. Is it? Am I immoral for enjoying titties? Does that make me an evil person? Am I like? Am I a sex trafficker because I like thick thighs? Is that what we're at? Is it like, is it objectifying women for me to think that like nerdy girls or goth girls are hot and attractive? Is that bad? Am I hurting anyone? I mean, if you ask people on Twitter, I guess I am. Having preferences, or not even just really, or having a long list of preferences makes you bad, or so. I don't fucking know, man. I don't know. You're asking a wrong nigga, bro. I'm lost, bro. Like, I am trying to come up with a way to make this make sense, and it's not clicking. It's not clicking, bro. I'm sorry, bro. It's like, if straight woman or a gay dude, bisexual dude, anybody whatsoever in between that is attracted to men, like, says something like, I really like big dicks. Are they hurting men? Is that misandrist? Is that bad? I really like big, giant, meaty, throbbing, veiny cocks. Is that bad? Is that a bad thing? I don't know. Maybe I'm just stupid. For the longest time, I was under the impression that like it was perfectly fine and okay to find somebody like sexually attractive for whatever reason, albeit their body type or personality type, both of which Joe Cat listed in this girl's video. I always thought that was, you know, permissible as long as you weren't, you know, dehumanizing somebody along the way. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, right? And if you're married to somebody, like, don't you think it's a good thing to be sexually attracted to your spouse? Like if you're a husband married to your wife, is it bad to enjoy her big old titties, her tig old bitties, or if she has a flat chest, if you like her or her tiny titties? No, you can't really make a meme out of that. Huh. Anyway, anybody with an IQ above room temperature will say no, you're not, because I don't know. If you're married to somebody, you would prefer your partner to be sexually attracted to you, to any of your features, physical features, or personality traits, or what have you. Because honestly, I really do think that this whole discourse stems from like people on Twitter's inability to grasp with the very fact that like it is perfectly fine, normal, and reasonable to find someone sexually attractive, but also see them as actual human being. This is one of the things that like makes me pro sex work, and I'm pretty sure if you ask a number of these so-called feminists, I think maybe half of them will purport to be pro sex work because they recognize that it is perfectly fine to find somebody like sexy and attractive, but also recognize that they are human beings deserving of, you know, basic human decency. I mean, that's like that's always a common rebuttal that we give to puritanical conservatives who are so Puritan about sex, sexuality, or women's bodies in general. But when it comes to, Joe Cat making a 40-second meme video, people just throw that mindset out the fucking window, and just so they can find a reason to dogpile and bully somebody because they want to feel morally superior for whatever fucking reason. And like the fact that like they want to brand it as a harmful or like misogynistic video or whatever, they use that to try and justify their proclivity to act batshit insane and bully the fuck out of this dude that literally harmed no one.
What's wrong with y'all? You niggas are crazy!
I think I want to get into this idea of perceived harm, right? Because, like, going back to all the shit that Keemstar did and whatnot, like, Keemstar, like, falsely branding people as pedophiles, basically just for content, essentially. Like, a lot of people perceive the targets that Keemstar would go after as harmful individuals. And then the funny thing is, again, I'm mentioning this again now, like, and then later on out of nowhere, people start deciding to dogpile and bully Keemstar for, the actual harm that he did. And it's even funnier too when you really think about it, because like really actually think about this, because this is actually really fucking like insane to me. During the time when people were like dogpiling and bullying Keemstar for whatever, for, the bad things that he actually fucking did, because Keemstar is a piece of shit, it is so wild to me that people decided to treat Joe Cat even worse than anybody has ever treated Keemstar. That is insane to me, bro. Even if, like, you accept the concept that, like, Joe Cat's video actually was harmful to women or whatever, even if I accept that, right? Keemstar has done proportionally way worse thing, but people would want to treat Joe Cat worse. Meanwhile, they didn't go nearly as hard on fucking Keemstar. And there are plenty of other examples, like people doing horrible things and getting dogpiled and bullied over it. But like even the dogpile and bullying done towards people who do actual demonstrable harm is nowhere near as proportional to people who are completely harmless and defenseless. But there is a reason for that. It's because they are just bullies. They want to. The point of bullying is to pick on somebody that can't defend themselves. That's why they do shit like that. For some fucking reason, like another random wave of harassment just came up and Joe Cat has to deal with that shit again. I want to go over it as quickly as I possibly can because I got other shit to get to. So here's what happened, right? There was this like little Twitter trend going around where like people will post this like this image of a bunch of anime girls with like various different body types. I'm gonna pull the image up on screen, but like a lot of people would post this image on their account and like they will ask something like which kind of girl is your type, which girl are you into, shit like that. You can say whatever you want about the trend, but it's a harmless thing that I don't really care that much about. But this did catch Joe Cat's attention, and he posted this. And it's an image, I think this is something that he actually drew himself. It's an image of him going on dates with all the various girls in the original image. And the caption is him saying, all of them, stop asking. That is probably the best response that any guy can give to a post like this, right? And honestly, if you ask me, he handled that with so much class. I'm gonna be real with you. Like, it's not like objectifying the girls or anything, these fictional girls. It's not anything sexual at all. In which it's cute. I think it's cute. It's nice. I like it. The unfortunate reality is, Twitter doesn't do cute. I don't think Twitter a wholesome perception radar in their brain. I don't know. I think that part of their brain might be broken or something, because people saw Joe Cat's tweet and they responded with shit like this.
It's gonna be so funny when this guy inevitably gets called out for sexting teen girls on Discord.
fuck is wrong with niggas on Twitter, bro? Like, what? Only on Twitter, bro. Like, will you get people wanting someone to be a pedophile? Why? Who wants someone to be a pedophile, bro? That's crazy. Couldn't be me, bro. That couldn't be me. Joe Cat's like, I like women of all body types. This nigga's like, oh, so you're a you're a pedophile, huh? So you're a pedophile, huh?
Chat, we need this guy's hard drive checked now. Why is this Joe Cat being cute? Feminist. I'll fuck it while I'm hole no matter what's the woman around. It looks like you. Oh, you fucking okay.
There's no way, bro. There's no way, bro. There's no way, bro. There's no who. There's no way. There's no. Nah. Fuck. Nah. Hell no, bro. Me to every woman Joe Cat has ever interacted with in the history of his life. Oh, so that's where that Wojak came from. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Oh, okay. Hold on, what does that note say? I remember seeing this meme before. What does that note say? If this guy is bothering you, put your ponytail on your other shoulder and I will have him removed. He's giving me the creeps. Look me in the eye and tell me that this image does not properly portray the energy that these Twitter weirdos bring to the table. This is them, bro. That image is them. Oh, but that ain't it. That's not it. There were a lot of people giving Joe Cat shit for drawing the plus size girl with food.
You really had to draw the fat girl with a bunch of food, huh?
Joe Cat noticed this and thought that at the very least this particular discomfort was worth addressing because he hadn't really addressed any of this drama until he decided to talk about this. Here's what he said. I do think this one is worth addressing. I tried to base it off the original, which also has her eating. I also ran it by plus-sized friends, and they didn't seem to mind it. Okay, no, I get that. Yeah, I get that. That's cool. That makes sense to me. All right, let's see how people on Twitter...
I think we should put this guy in a big net and poke at him with sharp sticks and branding irons until he decides to be different.
Listen, come here. Shut your stupid ass up.
I'm done. I'm done with this. Nope, I'm done. I'm not wasting my time on this shit, bro. Fuck, no. Hell no, bro. No. Nope. Fuck that. Hell no, bro. I'm not going there. I'm not doing it. I'm not you know what? I'm just gonna speed run past that and just move on. What is there to say? Like these are the type of niggas that we're dealing with, bro. Don't y'all think it's very interesting that a lot of these people, for some fucking reason, they decided to tether their bullying to progressive values such as feminism and being anti-creep or anti-pedo, even though there's nothing like, they decided to flavor their bullying with a somewhat leftist twang. What, you got a problem? Just a clothing change? What, you think I'm gonna record all this shit in one sitting? Are you mad? Hell no. Hell no. Absolutely not. No. You know how long this shit is? Nah, bro. Don't. I'm not gonna do all. No, stop. So yeah, with all that digression aside, funny digression aside, yeah, we're going there. We're talking about it. We're getting political, buddy. Okay. This video we're going to be talking about toxic culture within politics, specifically on the left wing side of things. Don't get me wrong, all the crazy stuff that I've listed that goes on with all these online circles, like, you know, the content creation side, the social media side, all of that stuff. All the toxic behaviors that I listed are insanely prominent in leftist circles as well. Like all the things that you can think of, like the bullying, the dogpiling, the harassment, the doxing, the clout chasing, the copious amounts of pedo allegations. Oh, there are so many pedo allegations. Oh God, we are swimming in pedo allegations. To be clear, I don't really think that these things are necessarily worse in leftist circles. To be honest with you, I think it's basically just about as bad as any other social circle in online spaces. Although, unfortunately, when you look at the harassment side of things, the harassment side can potentially be a lot more dangerous in leftist circles than any other social circle. The unfortunate reality is the fact that the online harassment that the left tends to engage in is often given a sense of validity through the veneer of righteousness. I mean, you all just witnessed how people chose to go after Jocat. Many of them straight up just tied their abusive behavior to feminism, acting like that they're doing it for a feminist cause, when in reality, all they were doing was just bullying some dude on the internet. And I don't know if you all are aware of this, but at least in the mainstream, feminism is broadly considered to be a good thing. And like the main issue here is that Jocat's bullies made it seem as if they were fighting for a feminist cause. And since these people decided to tie their bullying to feminism, all it did was just make their abuse seem justified. But no, it doesn't really apply to just feminism, by the way. You can literally take any left-wing principle and belief and weaponize them literally the exact same way that they did with feminism. Like, take for instance, pro-blackness, or anti-racism broadly, pro-LGBT advocacy, and even more specifically, trans rights. Like, the list goes on. Like, all of these, and I mean all of these very basic principles can be weaponized this way. And the problem here is that, the online left constantly weaponizes these principles in order to abuse other people. And again, abuse and dehumanization are honestly the hallmark of toxic internet culture. And when it comes to the online left, they really are absolutely no exception to that. And the colossal problem in my eyes is the fact that a lot of people in these online left circles have deluded themselves into believing that we are immune to that level of depravity. Either that, or they just kind of flat out ignore that possibility. Or they just don't even bother to consider the possibility. Thankfully, though, many of us have kind of opened our eyes to that shit, to how destructive and toxic online leftism actually is. And we have since then pretty much been disillusioned with the online left. But even if we're aware of those problems haven't gone away, and honestly, they never will. Because as more and more people cycle into these online spaces, they're in for a rude awakening. A lot of them have not experienced this community. A lot of them don't know what they're getting into. A lot of them think that it's going to be easy dealing with this community. And they are going to find out the hard way that it really isn't. Either they're going to be the abusers, or they're going to be abused themselves. Or honestly, which is more likely, both. They're going to be victims and perpetrators of abuse. 9 times out of 10, that's just how it's going to be. So even though many of us have pretty much gotten out, a lot of people are getting into the community as either people who are left-leaning, join internet communities, or people who are already in internet communities decide to be left-wing and they integrate themselves into that community from that. Either way, a lot of people are cycling in and people are cycling out. It's just a never-ending cycle. And the thing is, a lot of the issues that I've seen within online leftist communities is the fact that, many of us were foolish enough to believe that we could let our guard down with this community when, like I said before, it's very obvious that we can't. And to be honest with you, we all should have known better. Like, we've seen content creators like, I don't know, Lindsay Ellis or ContraPoints getting harassed for a bunch of random nonsense. And on the flip side, since leftist content creators are, well, content creators, they're not immune to levying these, I'll say, Keemstar level false allegations against other content creators. Because that's just how content creators do. They chase drama and clout. That's just how it is for content creators in YouTube and the broader space. And it is no different for content creators that are in the left-wing spaces. But like, the thing that makes these behaviors worse, when you look at how people will levy false allegations at other people, the major problem is, the thing that makes it like actually worse is the fact that they are tied to politics. Remember what I said about the whole lolcow phenomenon? You know, how Leafy kind of makes fun of people, or how, dare I say, even Keemstar was kind of made into a lolcow. We in the online left have our own version of the lolcow, although instead of like going with the lolcow label, we actually do, to be honest with you, we do use that label, but another label that we're more often used to using is harmful. You might be assuming that there is a difference between being labeled harmful and being labeled a lolcow. It's really not that different at all, really. The behavior and how those people get treated is nearly identical. Like, they're both dehumanizing to the subject. They both attempt to justify bullying and dogpiling, and they both attempt to justify depraved actions against the subject. Like, literally, the only difference here is that, like, lolcows basically turn somebody into a living meme, you know, somebody to point at and mock and laugh at, and being labeled harmful turns somebody into an enemy, you know, an obstacle that needs to be destroyed. And being, you know, the lefties that we're pretty much always constantly aware of political issues. And because of that, and we see pretty much politics in everything, we kind of end up turning full human beings into political issues, which then further justifies any action against them. Like, people end up treating one singular human being the same way that they would treat, you know, systemic racism.
Man, can you believe it? In a few days, we're gonna have a black president. Aren't you excited, little man? What's supposed to mean?
Just means
Yo, what the deal, man? What's going on here? Up, man? Yo, what's Ask this kid if he was excited about Obama, and he said He said Yeah, what's wrong with you? You're not excited?
Not excited?
Who ain't excited?
This little nigga right here.
Why ain't he excited?
So
you don't like Obama. You want McCain to win.
I never said that.
Alright. Let's talk about Xander Hall for a minute. If you aren't aware of who Xander Hall is, all you need to know is that he's a left-leaning content creator who's primarily a streamer on, I believe, Twitch, and also on YouTube as well. Xander Hall's content is, he basically streams and covers a variety of subjects. Sometimes he'll react to a video or cover the news or talk about like just anything, any random political issue he feels like talking about at the time. Just like most political left-wing streamers tend to do. Like, he often covers things like gaming or just like straight up internet YouTube drama, or like basically just general politics. But he mostly does it from kind of a left-leaning perspective. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of Xander Hall, really, but like, I stopped watching him after I've seen him release a couple of videos that left a bad taste in my mouth. One of them in particular was his coverage of, there was this German lady on YouTube, and he reacted to her video, basically kind of playing defense for her. Like, this lady was kind of stupid because she was basically playing both sides on the trans debate. Like, it's so bad because this bitch would like straight up just like, because in the first start, when the video begins, she would start off by listing all the discrimination that trans people face, like, you know, how trans people are outlawed, or how trans people are often victims of hate crimes or like violence and stuff like that. She will straight up acknowledge that, and that's fine, all right? And then later on, she starts going into fear-mongering about, ooh, there's a lot more trans people in society than there was years ago. And ooh, let's talk about this rapid onset gender dysphoria from a study, literally that is a study that is explicitly anti-trans. Yeah, the fact that Xander Hall was even giving this woman any credit is baffling. Not only that, but the dude didn't even bother to finish covering the video. He only watched like less than half of the video, because even the latter half of the video is even more explicitly anti-trans. On the flip side, Vosh did a much better analysis of that same video. But I digress. Xander Hall is interesting because he has been the subject of a lot of harassment coming from leftists on social media, but also from content creators too. The first example that I know of comes from another content creator named Thought Slime.
You're gonna die.
Thought Slime had accused Xander Hall of running a sex cult in his Discord server and also abusing his fans. This ended up leading to a lot of harassment towards Xander Hall because, you know, let's be real here. We all know the best way to stop cultists and abusers. It's harassing them on the internet, of course. Like, come on now. If only the internet existed when Jim Jones was around. All they had to do was harass him on Twitter, and then Jim Jones would have never killed all those people with the Kool-Aid. It's so easy. Man, we have so many cool tools at our disposal these days. I'm so glad that the internet exists, because now no harassers or abusers get to do anything bad at all whatsoever, because the internet is here to save the day by stalking and harassing. But the harassment towards Xander Hall got so bad that Xander Hall had to set the record straight and debunk all of the lies spread about him.
I wasn't a fan of the idea, but once the demand got too big to ignore, I let my mods make the NSFW chats and set up a system to vet anyone who got access to make sure that they were at least 18 years or older. Most people that posted there would talk about sex, post porn memes, and even post nudes if they wanted to. Over this period of time, I ended up befriending a few of the women who had posted nudes in the NSFW section of my server and hang out in the VC. I should clarify, none of them were fans of me, but we'll get into that later. The first one of them was Aisha. She was a big fan of Destiny and stumbled across my talk with him and decided to join my Discord server. Another girl, who we'll just call B, another who we'll call M, really liked posting in the NSFW section and would often hang out in voice chat. Next there's A. She's a trans woman, who I've been friends with for a very, very long time, long before getting into political content. Finally, there's the catalyst of all this drama. She's called Spooky. She joined my server a few months before we started talking and posted in the NSFW section a lot after it was made. So we spent a while talking in voice chats about politics and media, getting along, but after like a week we wanted our own place to hang out separate from the rest of the server since we couldn't have a conversation without one or a dozen of my fans joining and kind of ruining the chill mood. We decided to make a different part of the server that would be private and hang out in there. We decided to call it Xander Hall's Harem, referencing a running joke on my channel that I'm a mini Destiny. For those that aren't aware, the streamer Destiny fucks. A lot. In fact, his community likes to joke about how he's the protagonist of a harem anime, in which the main character, usually a guy, is pursued by a bunch of women. That's what the name of the group was facetiously referencing. And this was not a polyamorous relationship or polycule. It was just an online friend group. Eventually we decided to move the harem, I say this very sarcastically since it was by no means an actual harem, into its own server. Aisha was the one who made the new server and was the only one with any power in it, till one afternoon I woke up to about 1 million pings on Discord. Apparently Spooky had kind of a mental breakdown during a falling out with the rest of the friend group. From what I was told, and was able to put together from reading chat logs, they were talking about Star Wars with Spooky. Now, Spooky is a big Star Wars fan and takes it pretty seriously, especially shipping. She's a big-time Reylo stan, and while Spooky, Aisha, B, and another mod in my server were talking about Star Wars, the topic of some controversy that happened in the Star Wars fandom came up. Apparently, the actor who plays Finn in the new Star Wars movies made some pretty misogynistic comments about Rey, the character. From what I understand, a ton of Reylo fans responded to that with racist attacks towards John Boyega. Talking about this got Spooky really upset, and she lashed out at Aisha. First, she tried defending the actions of those Reylo stans who were being racist to John Boyega by saying they were justified because he was being sexist. Shortly after, she started yelling and told Aisha and B to go fuck themselves, reminding her of the week she apparently tried to kill herself back when that Star Wars drama originally happened. And then she left the harem server, as well as my Discord. This is some seriously abusive behavior, and you should never levy this towards someone and expect them to forgive you. She's also used her autism as an excuse for her behavior, but I don't think that justifies her actions. In DMs, and we talked a little bit, and I tried not to give the impression that we were still friends. I was nice to her, but I wanted to let her down easy considering her state. I figured that just leaving her on red would set her off, so I messaged her back as little as possible. She did start making these weird cryptic tweets though, and they kind of weirded me out. I should be clear, I think Xander Hall is a good leftist and someone we need. My opinions of him are personal, so no amount of weirdos planning to cancel him can get me to talk to them about it, unless you offer me food and a place to live. So here she is saying she doesn't plan on making it into drama unless someone offers her a place to live and food. I unfollowed her because I thought it would be best not to interact with her anymore, but I guess that was a bad idea because this was her reaction. Xander Hall unfollowed, so now I can safely say it. Fuck him. And shortly after this, she started tweeting in a million words a minute about how I'd promised her a place to live and how she's poor and was counting on living with me and my girlfriend. I never made this promise. During her Twitter meltdown, she eventually started saying that I was supposed to be her sugar daddy and that she was proud she could have pulled a Parasite on me. Holy shit, I just realized I performed the plot of Parasite on Xander Hall. Now that is really performing well as a leftist. So who's gonna be my next sugar daddy? There are two Xanders in my life. One of the Xanders is my closest friend who I care about very deeply and would die for. The other one is Xander Hall. One of them is my closest friend, the other can buy me food. They're basically on the same level. Later, she started ranting on Twitter non-stop, demanding an apology, and spamming my notifications, so I decided to block her. I thought ignoring her would be the best option here. Then, I kid you not, she made a new Twitter account to avoid the block called Fuck You, then like a bunch of numbers. Then she goes back to spamming me and demanding an apology. The YouTuber Thought Slime caught wind of this drama and both irresponsibly and impulsively tweeted about it and said I had a sex cult. He also did this after blocking me, so I was unable to defend myself when he was making these blatantly false, unsubstantiated accusations towards me for like his 40,000 Twitter followers. Now, this whole sex cult thing came out of nowhere. It's almost like he made it up and wanted it to be true or something. After a while, her accusations started to evolve into I manipulated her and used my power as a streamer to take advantage of a fan. This is a long shot from her original claim that we were in a consensual relationship and I promised her the world, but her story has been changing a lot depending on the groups of people that have taken her under their wing. A few weeks ago, she was correcting Thought Slime, who tweeted that I had a sex cult, telling him it wasn't that, to now hanging out and retweeting people saying I was an abuser who was taking advantage of my parasocial power over my fans. Literally everyone else who was directly involved with this and was in the server are really upset with Spooky for trying to profit off the false narrative that the server they like to hang out and occasionally horny post was some kind of abusive sex cult, especially since some of them have dealt with sexual abuse in the past and they find it extremely disrespectful that she would lie about it and try to minimize sexual abuse.
The next time Xander Hall got harassed was because his ex-girlfriend Lonnie at the time had accused him of abusing her. When in reality it was Xander Hall being abused and taken advantage of, specifically in a financial sense.
When I first met Lonnie, I'll admit I was a very naive 20-year-old with very little life experience, and she was 27. Well, I thought she was at the time, but now I've learned from her recent arrest report that she's actually a year older than she said she was, and she was really 28 when we started dating, and I was 20. I really can't tell you what her motivation was for lying about her age the whole relationship. First 6 months of our relationship were completely long distance, and she lived all the way on the other side of the country in Palm Springs, California, and I lived all the way in Florida, living with my parents. My living situation with my parents eventually just got too toxic, and I decided that my best course of action was to move away. I moved all the way across the country to Palm Springs, California with Lonnie. At first, living with my girlfriend was like a dream. As the relationship prolonged, I began to notice that my finances looked to be on a downturn. I was already monitoring my income pretty closely, but it started to seem like, despite the fact I was streaming and uploading more, I just wasn't seeing the expected return by the end of the month or even by the end of the week. And eventually, I had to confront Lonnie on it. Anytime I'd question her about the suspicious activity happening on my PayPal account, she'd always chalk it up to some bill getting auto-paid that I didn't know about, or one of the games that I was subscribed to, like World of Warcraft, billing me, or some glitch in PayPal's system that's making it so that the live display of transactions isn't accurate to what's actually gone through. She claimed I was just getting a reality check on how expensive the cost of living is in California. Finances quickly became my biggest stress. As time went on, my suspicion kept growing that Lonnie might be behind my financial issues and that she may be finding a way to steal money from my account on a daily basis without leaving a trace. I was done dismissing all this money going missing as being normal. I knew something was up. And then it happened. Through my research, I learned about a feature that I'd previously not known about. On the business version of PayPal, which is what I use, there's a feature that allows you to archive payments. Of course, the summary of the PayPal homepage includes a timeline of recent transactions. But what I discovered is if you click on an individual transaction, you can click a drop-down feature that lets you archive it and completely delete it from that main feed. This, it turns out, was exactly what Lonnie was doing. After checking the archive payments feed, which you access like this, by the way, this is what I found. I decided to reach out to somebody who I thought could give me a little bit more closure on this epiphany I'd had. Lonnie had a friend that before she and I moved in together in California was potentially going to be our roommate. However, she and Lonnie had a falling out before I came to California, and that just kind of fell through. For the sake of her privacy, we'll call her Emily. And she did not seem surprised to hear the news that Lonnie had been stealing from me for at least the past 7 months. It was in this conversation that Emily informed me that Lonnie had a gambling addiction and smoked methamphetamine, and that these were things that she had an addiction to well before me and her started dating. I contacted Lonnie, and I told her that our relationship was over, I was breaking up with her, and she needed to immediately start finding a new place to live.
Honestly, it's a real shame that Xander Hall had to go on stream and literally go into great detail about his relationship with his ex-girlfriend, just so he can debunk all the lies Lonnie spread about him. This is unfortunately an undying trend where, like, we have a bunch of content creators, especially leftist content creators, having to go, like, into great detail of their personal private lives just to debunk a bunch of lies spread about them so they can stop harassment. Like, it really is a shame that a lot of people have no choice but to make their personal lives the entire internet's business. Oh, but the harassment for Xander Hall was far from over, because following Lonnie's allegations, another content creator would come out of the woodwork to make basically an hour-long hit piece on Xander Hall.
Well, internet, looks like I'm back again, doing another one of these videos. I could be making content about how leftists can start organizing, or I could be doing more stuff about unions, or, you know, how to get involved with direct action, but, of course, the algorithm doesn't like that stuff. It loves stuff like this. Drama. So, let's recap real quick. A 2.5-year relationship, the guy ends it out of nowhere via text, claiming that she's doing drugs and stealing from him, literally makes her homeless, and what does he have to say for himself? Making content about your breakup is an extremely ghoulish thing to do. Oh, and this next bit just... ew.
She would constantly use my card to order Grubhub and Uber Eats to places she was cleaning for lunch instead of packing some of the fresh food that she'd bought that was in our fridge and going bad. She'd also constantly leave half-eaten food just sitting on the counter to go bad. She wouldn't even bother just throwing it in the fridge to let it be good for later.
I can't stand people who call themselves leftists and do not understand that people do not want to do reproductive labor. Like, cooking is a whole arse thing, dude. Lots of people get Uber Eats. I'm gonna be getting an Uber Eat after I've recorded this video because I've got no energy to cook. He complains that all the food in the fridge would go bad, and I'm not being funny, man, but like, Xander Hall, have you never been in control of a fridge in your entire life? It happens all the time, because unfortunately capitalism doesn't allow us a lot of time to actually address things like that. Plus, if you've got ADHD like me, planning and cooking is such a drama. One thing I've learned from my time as a leftist and doing actual activism out in the real world is it does not matter how much of a piece of shit someone can be. They deserve, at the very least, the basic human rights that every human being deserves. Food, clothing, housing, healthcare. Xander Hall reaching so far into the depths of his cruelty to render his partner homeless is just something that is so sickening to me from so many different angles. It was genuinely hard for me to go through this video just seeing how smug and comfortable he is, all the while safe in the knowledge that he is going to be fine and his ex-partner is going through one of the worst times of her life. It's just so disgusting. Where is his empathy? My God, no debrief, no makeup sex, just sweep it all under the carpet. Don't even think about your poor homeless ex-girlfriend who has no fucking money, has gone to jail, and whose life is falling apart. Just go and fucking make your YouTube videos. But it does not sound like Xander Hall had very good knowledge of boundaries and consent when it came to this kind of relationship. He says one of the first things that he noticed when he moved out is that he wasn't seeing as much money coming in as he thought he should be, which is like a very normal thing to happen when you first move out with your parents' gaff and go to live on your own somewhere, or even with a couple. This is called the material conditions of the working class under capitalism, Xander Hall. Disgusting, entitled, wannabe land baron. Xander Hall even says that someone's political beliefs could be a good indication of their moral values, which is pretty funny because he supports the Democrats, unironically, and they are constantly throwing marginalized people under the bus just like him. It is so irresponsible to cut off all communication with someone that you had been seeing for 2 years, to not even allow her to make her case. Honestly, gang, I can't get over this. Like, I've had toxic relationships that were 6 months long, where someone had been confirmed by multiple people to have been cheating on me, and I still didn't act like this. I still tried to sort things out with this person. I gave them way more grace than this fucking man could even conceive. Or I could be doing more stuff about unions, or, you know, how to get involved with direct action, but, of course, the algorithm doesn't like that stuff. It loves stuff like this. Drama.
The funny part is that this hit piece was so bad, it was so horrendous that Lonnie thought it was dog shit. Bruh, DJ Mule is disgusting for having made this video. Like, not only is he spewing lies, he also goes out of his way to insert himself into Xander Hall's relationship drama. And not only that, he goes as far as to downplay his abuse and basically victim blame, essentially. Also, most of this video is just DJ Mule simply just defending his stupid ass friends from Xander Hall's criticism. Like, I'm sorry, there's basically no politics in this video. But the problem is DJ Mule uses a lot of progressive buzzwords in this video.
Can't stand people who call themselves leftists and do not understand that people do not want to do reproductive labor. This is called the material conditions of the working class under capitalism, Xander Hall. It happens all the time because unfortunately capitalism doesn't allow us a lot of time to actually address things like that.
And he does this to make his video seem more political than it actually is, when in reality it is literally nothing but just drama bait. It's just drama. That's all it is. And I see this tendency a lot from left-wing content creators. Left-wing content creators. Like, they will basically do all the same shit that Keemstar does. Like dogpiling, bullying, levying false allegations, the whole wazoo. But they try to make it seem like they're fighting the good fight as good little leftists do, and speaking out for victims and whatnot, when literally all they're doing is just engaging in drama. And they even go as far as to use extreme labels and rhetoric like, you know, cultist or abuser. What? Hell, even the dishonest tactic of extrapolation is the same. Oh, what's that? Basher was chatting with a 15-year-old in text messages while he was himself 18 years old? Pedophile. Oh, what's this? Xander Hall has an NSFW chat in his Discord? That's a sex cult. What? Huh? Did I miss something? I think we skipped like, I don't know, 30 steps here? Oh, and if you thought that just because Xander Hall was a victim of this shit means that he can't be a perpetrator of this shit as well? Oh boy. Yeah, get ready. At some point or another, Xander Hall had some beef with Keffels, who I hate.
Did you know that, suck my inverted penis? How about that? Did you know that one? I'm a fucking slut for suffering. What if I told you the funny fish was here the entire time? Yes, I just took a fucking wicked piss in my pants. Let me put on the
The reason being was because Keffels did not go out of her way to speak out against something stupid that Shoonhead did. Who, you know, Shoonhead is another person I don't really like very much.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Shoonhead channel. I am your host, Shoonhead. You may know me on Reddit as generic far-right Fox News bigot. Or perhaps you know me as Commie Mommy.
You know who else doesn't like Shoonhead? Xander Hall. Xander Hall hates Shoonhead. They used to be friends, they're not friends anymore. Xander Hall burned the bridge with Shoonhead over the Balenciaga drama, but because Xander Hall decided to hold Keffels to this ridiculous standard of not speaking out against Shoonhead for some reason, because why does Keffels have to answer for Shoonhead's stupid behavior? That's beyond me. Because of this shit, Xander Hall and Keffels had been at each other's throats for weeks. I want to say the better part of a whole month. And during their little mutual conflict, Xander Hall did something that I find to be extremely irresponsible. He ended up retweeting a random Twitter user who had accused Keffels of abusing her ex-girlfriend.
I mean, I don't support her because her ex came out with claims of abuse, and Keffels avoided mentioning the allegations at all and let her diehard fans bully her ex into silence, and that's a different story.
Xander Hall knew nothing about Keffels' relationship with her ex, but because he hated Keffels and he was big mad at Keffels, he decided to take the accusation at face value and retweet it, which is essentially signal boosting it and co-signing it. And then Keffels ended up being harassed by Xander Hall's fans along with some other dubious individuals. And because of this, Keffels had no other choice but to go on stream and go into great detail about her relationship with her ex-girlfriend. I'm starting to see a pattern here. Why does this keep happening?
And the reason that I don't talk about my ex is that over the course of several years, my ex mentally, emotionally, and sexually abused me. And I never wanted to talk about it. I have very actively avoided talking about it. I have nightmares about this stuff. This shit is just fucking cruel. And before Xan decided to bring this into our space, and I never felt like I needed to address it. But when I saw this last night, I realized that I had to address this. Because if I didn't address this, my silence would be read as guilt. So now, I have to go over some of the most fucked up things that have ever happened in my life because Xander Hall wanted to win internet points against me by signal boosting unsubstantiated rumors.
Oh, silly me. Oh, it turns out Keppels was the one being a. Wow. Oops. Damn, Xander Hall, you messed up. Wow, that's crazy. It's almost like you were a victim of the exact same thing. Jesus Christ. Like, this is so wacky, bruh. Like, the same thing happened to Xander Hall. Like, literally. His ex-girlfriend accuses him of abuse. Then he goes on stream to clear the air on everything. And then Keffels ends up being the victim of the exact same thing because Xander Hall keeps perpetuating lies about it. And then Keffels has to do the same thing. Go on stream, clear up everything, and reveal that she was actually the one being abused. What? It's like Xander Hall learned nothing from his own experience. Like, what? And like, even though Xander Hall recognizes his mistake now, and also not just that, the random Twitter user that he retweeted ended up deleting that tweet, so even they recognize that they fucked up. Even if Xander Hall realizes his mistake, it doesn't erase the fact that at the time, Xander Hall literally allowed his spite to dictate how he perceived reality. Like, he was mad at Keffels, so he was gonna believe anything that anyone said that was bad about Keffels and just run with it. And the thing that I want to point out here is that, like, this behavior really is not that uncommon at all. Xander Hall really is not the only one guilty of this shit. You see, I've seen this happen time and time again, where people get very angry at another person, get very spiteful, and then whenever an opportunity arises where they get to jump on whatever bandwagon against that person, they just run with it. Man, I really don't like Jeffrey. I don't like the way Jeffrey chews his food. Oh, what's that, Mark? Oh, Jeffrey's a child rapist? You don't have any evidence of that? Okay. Jeffrey, you're a child rapist. I'm gonna have to kill you now. Man, I really don't like Miranda. I fucking hate Miranda for punching me in the face that one time. That shit hurt. She knocked my tooth out. Oh, what's that, Jessica? Miranda is a serial killer? She kills people for sport and harvests their organs and eats them? Raw? She shot a baby too? Huh, that's weird. I'm not gonna question the fact that she's not been charged for this, and she's still here, not being arrested, not even in court, not getting sued for it at all, whatsoever, not even being detained in prison. You know what? I'm gonna take your word for it. Miranda, I'm gonna have to kill you now. Oh, and don't think I forgot about you, Keffels, with your fucking drama-mongering ass. Boo, I haven't forgotten about you. All the numerous videos you made about several different people on this platform. You'd have milked the Aaron Green drama for all it's worth, literally went after her like months after it was already said and done because you really wanted to get all that clout and a lot of attention to your channel. And I didn't forget about the way you went after Benny. Oh yeah, you remember Benny, the one tanky that was on TYT? And then Keffels just decided to just randomly, for no reason, make content about how Benny is a tanky because that was so important and so consequential to everything going on. Literally right after Benny was leaving TYT, and that was a more important conversation. But no, Keffels really had to just bully this random idiot for no reason. And she no doubt was milking her own drama with Xander Hall up until Xander Hall decided to take things way too far and bring Keffels' abuser into this. And then there's your really extremely dishonest attack on foreign man in a foreign land. Look, I don't like the guy either. I think his attack against Keffels and Bosch and whatnot was also dishonest on his part. But for Keffels to retaliate with another even more dishonest attack, that is just hella low, bruh. Keffels thought it was a good idea to like look up like foreign man in foreign lands awful conservative father who did awful, horrible, horrendous things and decided to put that shit on Foreign Man's shoulder, like Foreign Man was the one who told his father to do all that shit. Bro, what?
And Foreign's father has helped incarcerate countless black people in part of the war on drugs. I don't want to hear pain at scale when his college education was paid for through the systematic oppression of the black community.
Bruh, I'm sorry. I find it absolutely disgusting that this dumb fucking white bitch wants to invoke the black community just to have an excuse to make dog shit drama content. She just straight up weaponized black struggles just so she could use that to attack another shitty, god-awful content creator. Bro, all of y'all are fucking trash, bro. You know, while we're on the topic of spite, I think it's time we talk about Vosh.
From what I've seen, he also clips you out of context. Clip me out of context. Wait, hold on. You're telling me that a left YouTuber clipped me out of context while making a video attacking other people on the left? No, I'm not a fascist, okay? I just think democracy has failed the people, and the only way to move forward is to have a single, highly intelligent, technocratic leader. Like, no one knows what a Nazi is anymore, so, like, you know, it's like people are just getting punched for being white. The genocide of white people is good. Scientifically proved that being trans is fake and bad and Jewish. Racism.
What does that mean? It means context sensitive. It's sensitive to context.
Oh yeah, we're going there. Vosh needs no introduction, right? Like, his reputation precedes him. Or rather, more like false reputation precedes him.
You can see this is an example of the kind of structure that I'm referring to.
I've spoken about the tendency for people online to spread around false pedo allegations before, but if you really want the best example out there, look no further than Vosh. Like, this man is practically swimming in false pedo allegations. He's swimming in so much of it, he might as well have just drowned in it. I don't even know how he didn't drown in it.
Fact, and this is going to be a real hot take, I have yet to hear a convincing moral or legal argument as to why possession of child pornography should be illegal. Actual child pornography.
Context sensitive. It's sensitive to context.
What I've just shown you is one of the most common clips thrown around the internet as proof that Vosh is a pedophile. These are all clipped out of context, by the way. So I've shown you the out of context clip. Now let me show you the clip that has the full context with it.
In fact, and this is going to be a real hot take, I have yet to hear a convincing moral or legal argument as to why possession of child pornography should be illegal. Actual child pornography. How's that for a hot fucking take? Now, to clarify on this take, as I feel it necessary to do so, we do not, in this country, typically criminalize people who have procured media or resources which were the product of abuse. It is not illegal to own necklaces that have slave diamonds or whatever. What are they called? Yeah, blood diamonds. Yeah, all of our clothes produced by sweatshops, our computers, the silicon and lithium mined from literal fucking slaves. In our society, we have already deemed that people are not responsible for the mechanisms by which the media they consume and the content they engage with are produced. You like that argument? Ooh, you like that? You like that moral culpability? You're all worse than fucking CP owners, and I am too. Do you like that? No ethical consumption under capitalism. Shit sucks, right? But if we accept that argument for slave labor, then we definitely have to accept it for child pornography.
Oh, I see what he means. Context sensitive. Clever.
Oh, and keep in mind, that out of context clip was created and shared around by a jilted neo-Nazi who had a problem with Vosh after a debate that they had. Ironically enough, nowadays, I want to say about 70% of the people throwing that clip around are fellow leftists. And the reason why that is ironic is because Vosh is he just is a leftist content creator. He is a leftist. I know a lot of other leftists don't want to hear me say that. It makes them shiver in agony whenever I say that, but he is a leftist. But this does happen a lot within this space. Like, it is very common for other leftists to trust the word of neo-Nazis and fascists whenever that neo-Nazi or fascist says something bad about a fellow leftist that they don't like. However, there is a specific incident that I really want to focus on, and I think you all know what I'm going to talk about. The tax folder debacle. If you know what I'm talking about, then you know what I'm talking about. For those of you who don't, let me explain. So here's the deal. Vosh was doing a thing that he would often do on his streams. He would do a segment talking about basically male fashion, looking at male fashion, because he wants to look good on stream, and he wants to promote guys wanting to look good, just in general, because that's the thing that he's passionate about right now. And to be honest with you, I kind of don't blame him, because I don't know what it is with dudes. They don't really care about how they look as much as women do. I feel like everyone should care about how they look, but that's just me. While he was doing this segment, he was looking through a bunch of images, to see, images of clothing and pants and like hoodies and whatnot, and suits and stuff like that. He wanted to save a particular image. He right-clicked and clicked Save As. And for those of you who use computers, I don't know how you're watching this video if you don't know how to use a computer. When you click Save As, it brings up that nice little folder that has a bunch of images, the last folder that you looked at, and it shows all the images in that folder. When Vosh tried to save the image, it brought up his whole folder that has a bunch of miscellaneous images that are labeled to be sorted.
You can see this is an example of the kind of structure that I'm referring to.
The problem with that is he was doing this on stream, on Twitch, while thousands of people were watching, and this to be sorted folder, Vosh had a lot of lewd artwork in that folder, and that's already bad enough. But the problem was there were also some other strange things included. Some of the lewd art that was in his folder was very problematic, I'll say. Boy, I don't know the most child-friendly way to say. Okay, who am I kidding? This video isn't child-friendly. This is the most rated R video. My content is my content is not for children. What am I? Okay. And who am I kidding? Being blunt is the best policy. I don't give a shit. I'm not a content creator on Twitch. I'm on YouTube. I'm not saying the dreaded C word. I should be fine. Hopefully I didn't curse at the first minute of the video. Whoops. The lewd artwork that was in that folder that were of the problematic nature was two things. One of them, there were a couple images of horses having sex with small anime girls. Again, they're not real. These are artistic depictions of that, not real bestiality. I'm just gonna throw that out there. And the second thing is lots of lolicon. But that's it, really. Like, yeah, I understand it's problematic. That's not the type of stuff that I'm into, but go off, I guess. The horse thing I don't really understand. If you want Vosh's explanation, he says that he would that the reason he has that stuff in his folder is because he would like to fuck a chick as a horseman, or just as a horse in general. I think he said himself that if he had the option to just be a sentient like horse being, he would, and he would just have sex with women with a giant horse cock. That's Vosh. That is pure distilled Vosh brain for you.
I'll make it clear. You can write this down. I want to fuck a woman as a horse. None of this is a secret. To be clear, many jokes have been made about this, but I stand by it. My moral principles are rock solid. My feet are firmly planted in the ground. This isn't a secret. Let's talk to a therapist. Well, why do you want to be the horse, Vosh? Because then I'd have a giant dick. Okay, couldn't you have a big dick the other way? Well, yeah, I could. I could have a big dick hypothetically in any variety of scenarios, but then it wouldn't really be a horse dick. Well, you could be a human with a horse dick. Yes, but then I wouldn't have that powerful stallion energy using it. There you go. That's it. That's the whole thing.
The lolicon stuff, I'll get into later. But hey, if that's how you get your rocks off, whatever. Like, I don't, what am I supposed to say? And this thing ended up becoming a bigger deal within leftist and political circles for, like, I want to say the better part of a month. Like, I don't understand. It's like people cared more about this than they cared about actual predators, like, in the community. I'm not joking. Like, people act like people were treating Vosh like they should treat a serial predator. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I don't understand. Like, I'm not joking. Pretty much everybody in political Twitter was talking about this. Leftists were talking about it. Conservatives were talking about it. Centrists were talking about it. Even people who don't even talk about politics were talking about this shit. Like, it became discourse, like, almost everywhere. I don't understand why. Why do people care about this much? It's just a fucking fat folder. Really? Like, the fact that this became large discourse is, honestly, it's unsurprising, but it's baffling nonetheless. And, like, I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was extremely annoying that everybody and their grandmother felt like it was necessary for them to weigh in on this whole drama, when really there literally is nothing to this. Vosh did not abuse or harm anybody with that folder existing. Like, this whole thing got blown out of proportion. And it really didn't take long for a bunch of left-wing content creators, and honestly even right-wing content creators, to make videos talking about this shit. And one of those content creators in particular is named Ethan Klein. Yeah, he's, I mean, ostensibly a left-wing content creator. Kind of. Shortly after Vosh accidentally leaked his fat folder to the entire universe, Ethan Klein felt it was absolutely necessary to jump in the Discord and do an entire stream segment basically calling Vosh a pedophile. And not only that, going as far as to use a lot of those out of context clips in order to support that narrative.
Now, traditionally, we've caught conservatives' porn stash. It happened to Alex Jones, and also happened to Fuentes. So on the right, they're chased. Right. On the left, they want to fuck horses. This led people to compiling questionable clips from Vosh's past. Apparently, he has a colorful history of saying really bizarre, creepy, weird shit.
And I've made this argument a bunch of times, and I've addressed this poorly made argument a bunch of times here on this stream, is that, well, let's go through the logic. Why is the possession of child pornography immoral? Because it hurts people to make child pornography, yeah? It's immoral because of the harm that is caused by it. So, do we not possess other things that
you sound like someone who's trying to rationalize child abuse, like that?
Is that I think that all of these things are immoral.
See, I don't think that that's what you were saying.
The explanation, you're saying you just don't believe him.
I don't believe him because what he's saying doesn't make sense. You know, I think that's good. You just gotta listen. But if you're going to want to argue with me about what you said isn't fucked up, that's not a conversation I think is going to go great for you. But I'm happy. I guess I'll have it. If everyone is on board. If people are uncomfortable, then I won't have it.
Mm.
Would probably be good content. Would probably be good content.
So because Ethan decided to do this shit, basically being a dishonest hack, Vosh honestly had no desire to talk to Ethan about this on Ethan's channel, because Vosh correctly assumed that the only reason Ethan was even talking about this in the first place is purely for content and nothing else. To show you what I mean, allow me to show you a few screenshots of the DMs between these two white boys.
Would you like to call in on Monday? I know the podcast guys had DM'd you, but I thought I'd message directly. They just sent me the DMs. I understand where you're coming from. It's pretty heated. Although I genuinely don't know or how my comments were bad faith, I'd personally be interested in that convo and do promise to keep it good faith and to give you space to talk.
Heated implies mutual aggression. It's just a character assassination. It would be from your end of things, as if someone like Keemstar constructed a massive clip show out of every bad thing you had ever done, real or imagined, pulled exclusively from people who hate you. This whole time pretending he's unearthed this massive closet packed full of skeletons, when in reality, most of what he's waffling about is either imagined or long addressed.
I have no reason to assassinate your character.
You call my audience pedophiles. You call people defending me pedophiles. It's ridiculous. Pure ham content mill drama alert slop.
Bro, don't act above any of that behavior. You do it routinely. You can't high road me.
Apparently, though I don't see this myself. You condescended to me for thinking we were on good terms. You can't blame me for that misconception. All our previous interactions were pretty positive.
You spoke briefly twice in DM as far as I can recall. Maybe I'm misremembering.
Look, I don't blame anyone for being suspicious of me. There are a lot of people out there who hate me, and I also have a tendency to put my foot in my mouth. I definitely don't make things easy for people who want to defend me.
I didn't condescend to you, I just expressed surprise at the sentiment. I said you're a smart guy, talented speaker, funny, and I'm a fan of your content. Said that several times.
But right now, as poison wells and bad faith smears go, your show was actually more aggressive in its effort at character assassination than any weirdo Nazi or Keemstar type has been in the past. We are so far from good faith. To expect differently when I go on would be ridiculous.
I literally have no clue how you can call it bad faith. That's why I think there is a convo to be had. We try to look for the full context of everything and give thoughtful responses. I don't dwell in the same internet space as you, so perhaps I'm just missing or misunderstanding something.
Ethan, if you were a fan of my content or whatever else, don't you think the appropriate time to give my perspective on all this would have been sometime before the surprise 2-hour mega segment where you react to everything people who hate me have ever compiled to try and smear me? Don't you think your ordering of events is a little off? And you've attacked my community likewise, and other streamers. I'm only sensing a desire for more content in an environment which has been constructed to deny me the ability to be taken seriously.
Not sure how me saying I've enjoyed some of your videos suggests I owe you anything like that. Okay, I'll just say this. I understand where you're coming from. Personally, I think it would be a good convo because I promise you, I don't understand what was bad faith about my criticism, but I'm absolutely open to hearing you out. Obviously, the stuff we talked about is pretty heavy. I think you should have an opportunity to respond to our audience and give additional context. But it's up to you, obviously. I understand either way.
You didn't care about my opinion then, nor did you now. But your numbers were good during that segment, no? You're framing that not wanting to be blindsided with the dishonest character assassination somehow an irrational entitlement I feel is ridiculous. Think how what you say sounds to me, Ethan. Do you seriously expect me to believe you're surprised that I think your coverage was bad faith? Who on earth wouldn't think that, under any circumstances, genuinely or otherwise? You're not even acting like you believe the things you said. If you actually cared about the gravity of your accusations against me, you wouldn't be pussyfooting around with this language. You'd be condemning me. Christ, dude, I just checked your story. You're trying to balance this,
"Oh, well, I didn't know it was bad faith to compile a giant clip show attack and call you and your community and everyone who defends you a pedo. I'm curious why you think that was bad faith. Please come on to my show and tell me why,"
while actively continuing that jeering, disingenuous shitposting on your story.
"I'm curious about your perspective, which is why I only asked for it after the character assassination. You're not owed the chance to offer explanations or context before the assassination."
Good lord. No, I think not. You're free to say I pussied out or whatever, but for what it's worth, I don't think I'll ever believe you didn't believe you were lying this entire time. If anyone wants context, these lies have been challenged and pulled apart a billion times on my channel, just as the disingenuous attacks against you have been on yours.
Sorry that you think I'm lying, but I saw the shit in that folder. It's vile. Absolutely lolly. Girl looks like 13 and sucking off a horse. You need help, man. You keep trying to defend the shit you said and cry that it's out of context, but it's not. And there's piles and piles more of it that further reinforces everything. Seek help, bro, please. It is genuinely not normal to be looking at this shit, specifically the super young girl stuff. Point to me one lie I've told. You haven't yet.
I tried my best to cut out most of the fat of this DM exchange while, basically maintaining the core points given by both sides. Here's the important detail that I really want to draw your attention to. Ethan Klein chose to reach out to Vosh after doing that long stream segment against Vosh. This is exactly why I think Ethan Klein is more interested in farming content than actually having a genuine discussion. And it's honestly really ironic too, because you notice how Vosh pointed out, you notice that Vosh mentioned Keemstar earlier, right? You want to know something? Ethan Klein is also a victim of Keemstar. What Keemstar did to Ours Glory and Gold, to Buscus, and Basherverse, he also did to Ethan Klein. Ethan Klein is one of Keemstar's victims. Ethan Klein is using Keemstar's tactics here. It is bafflingly ironic. But unfortunately, this is literally how, drama mongers like to do things. Content first, reach out later. Step 1, content. Step 2, reach out. If you ask me, I think it should be the other way around. Reach out to the other person and get their perspective first. And then once you have, both sides, and once you have the full story and maybe, put everything together to come to your own conclusion and interpretation of things, then you make the content. No, we can't do that. That takes too much time. We need to talk about it now while it's fresh, but also use a bunch of sensational language. Use the most extreme labels possible in order to get as many views on my channel as humanly possible. So again, what do these drama mongers like to do? Content first, reach out later. I'm only saying this twice because this is not the first time I'm going to be mentioning this particular tactic. Frustrated, Vosh decided to do a stream segment trying to explain the whole folders thing. And in that stream, he said something interesting.
The other one is like a threesome with 2 chicks and a guy. And in retrospect, looking at it, knowing now that that artist is a lolicon, yeah, I can see it. When I looked at it, I think the vibe that I got was like short stack, thick kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like the way like goblins get drawn in porn. You'll have to entertain me for a moment on this presumed shared knowledge of how goblins get drawn in pornography. But you know how they're all like thick short stacks, right? That was the vibe that I got, because in the image, the girl that's shown has super thick legs and has like tits and a belly. So that's just the vibe I got. But now knowing that the artist is a lolicon, which I have been roundly reminded of, obviously knowing that it was intended to be a lolly drawing.
This is going to be a hot take from a lot of Vosh defenders. And Vosh probably not going to like me saying this either, but I kind of think he's full of shit here. I've seen the images. I don't know how you can look at that and not think lolly. But really, honestly, like, even with that aside, right? Even if you accept that, right? Like, I think Vosh is full of shit, like, completely. But I also don't think Vosh is a lolicon. If you ask me personally, in my humble opinion, don't shoot me. I'm gonna get attacked by Vosh fans and Vosh haters for this one, aren't I? If you ask me personally, I honestly, in my heart of hearts, think Vosh knew that those characters and those images were lollies. And I also think he simply just didn't care whether or not they were lollies. Like, the way, like, fictional, like, cartoonish or anime art tends to be drawn, a lot of the ages for certain fictional characters tends to be ambiguous to the point where it really doesn't matter that much. And I mean, it doesn't matter as much in a sense that, like, you can literally see a lot of these characters as damn near any age. So, like, they're fictional characters. Who gives a shit? You can do that. And honestly, that's ultimately why I don't really give a shit about the whole lolly debate. In my opinion, it is the dumbest debate. It's probably one of the dumbest debates on the internet, period. I don't like talking about it. I don't like engaging in it. I don't even like giving my own opinion about the subject, even in this video. I think it's unnecessary. I don't really like lolicon. It's not my thing. I think it's kind of disgusting. But, like, I don't really give a shit if people are into it or people, like, want to consume that shit. Whatever. If you're a lolicon, go off. Do your thing. I just keep it away from me. I don't give a fuck. Like, they're not real children. It's not child abuse material. Whatever. Go away. It's not my problem. I don't want to talk about it. And to tie things back to Vosh, like, Vosh fans, please don't kill me. I kind of think he's a massive hypocrite when it comes to the whole lolicon debate, because Vosh really does go really hard on lolicons. He really goes hard on lolicon or just lolly content in general, because I call him a hypocrite because I think that as hard as he does go on lolicons, I think behind closed doors he shares the same opinion as I do, as in, like, I don't really think he gives a shit. But that's just me. That's my opinion. That's just how it is. I could be wrong. I'm not like the Vosh Whisperer. I don't know what's in his head. I can't read his mind. I'm not Professor X, so don't shoot me. Don't shoot me, please. Also, I do need to address this because there is something that there's a particular argument that I've seen thrown around, and I've seen this argument used by a couple friends of mine, and I think they're absolute fucking dumbasses for saying this shit. Here's the thing. I don't think Vosh is obligated to watch a 40+ minute video of some crusty ass white dude calling him a pedophile. Vosh is called a pedophile by damn near everyone on the internet. He gets this all the time. Why the fuck does he have to waste his time watching this one video? Fuck off. And the reason why I'm even bringing this up is because a lot of people were getting on his case for just choosing to complain about Ethan's video or talk about this shit because Vosh didn't bother to watch the full video. Like, who gives a shit? Honestly, I've seen only a couple clips myself before watching most of the thing. Like, honestly, if you ask me, I think the clips are more than enough for Vosh to be upset. Especially from the clips that I've seen. Holy hell. Like, Ethan Klein was going really hard on Vosh and using the exact same argument that a lot of people keep using against Vosh. And not just using the same arguments, using all the same clips that have been used over and over and over and over and over again.
Vosh, you can't talk about that. You didn't watch the full stream video.
Shut the fuck up. Are you fucking stupid? But even then, after Vosh made the video basically complaining about Ethan Klein calling him a pedophile, Vosh got even more shit for it. What? And so because Vosh got a lot more shit for that video, plus Ethan Klein doing even more Vosh segments, Vosh decided that it was time to make one big, almost 2-hour long video explaining every single controversy point by point. Like, and I'm not joking, this video has basically every controversy that has to do with Vosh. He covers basically all of it. If you want to watch it, be my guest. It's an alright video. It's like, only watch it if you really care about this shit. Otherwise, I'd give it a pass. Alright. I've talked about Vosh enough. It's time to move on. Like, literally all I want to get across is the fact that this whole drama involving Vosh is stupid, ridiculous, and silly. And it bothers me immensely that so many people wasted so much precious time on this shit. This was last year, 2024. The elections were just about to come up. People wasted their time on this shit when they should have been focusing on things that are way more important than that. Alright, let's move on to another leftist content creator. This one I'm going to talk about is Shark300.
You know, going out to eat with a liberal is worse than going out to eat with a woman. At least a woman doesn't know what they want to eat. A liberal identifies as wanting different food every time I turn the corner, eh? Okay, I'm done. Okay, I'm done.
Or, as many people like to call him, just simply Shark.
Hey guys, look, it's gonna be so funny. I'm gonna sexually assault him while he's sleeping. Oh, wouldn't it be so funny if I came on him while he was sleeping? Oh, guys, I'm so hilarious.
Shark is a weird one because the harassment that he got was confusing. And I'm going to be as brief as I possibly can with this because we have a a lot to go over in this video. So Shark 300, surprise, surprise, is, well, another left-wing content creator. This man has fallen victim to a shit ton of harassment and false allegations levied at him. Most of the harassment that this man got was from the black side of Twitter, Black Twitter. People have been accusing this man of being all types of Uncle Toms and anti-black and like engaging in like trans misogynoir. If you don't know what that is, it's a combination of two concepts. One of them is trans misogyny, which is basically misogyny towards trans women. Believe it or not, trans women experience misogyny. It's true. Crazy, right? And also misogynoir, which is misogyny geared towards black women. Because, believe it or not, black women experience a lot of misogyny. Some might argue even worse versions of misogyny than white women face. And the worst part about it is for black women is like, man, black women face misogyny from black men and white men, and oddly enough, even white women. But going back to Shark 300, this man has stirred up a lot of trouble within the black side of Twitter. I mean, like, not even just the black side of Twitter, but like the black side of, well, left Twitter, I want to say. But like, people were calling them all kinds of shit like house Negroes, some coons, and it's just a long list of slurs that I will end up getting into later. And honestly, you would think this guy would be like the most anti-black, self-hating Officer Tatum, Candace Owens type with the way a lot of these people talk about him. I beg to differ for a couple reasons.
When these people go to these certain colleges, they don't get into that college because they're black. Everybody who gets into one of these colleges is on paper qualified to go to these colleges. There's not a single black person who's sitting in Harvard right now who doesn't deserve to be there. That doesn't exist. There's not a single med student, black or Hispanic or whatever med student who's sitting in a like medical school right now who doesn't deserve to be there, unless their family is rich and they're paying their way to be there. Then you don't deserve to be there. But other than that, all of them deserve to be there because they're all qualified. These people aren't not qualified. And that's what makes this so sad from Thomas Sowell, because what he's basically saying is sowing discontent and sowing doubt about your minority doctors. It's hard to think that they don't simply just hate black people and believe that anything that like advocates for the betterment of black people in the country is by the very definition of wokeness, because black people have it good enough already and we just need to move on from 400 years of assault, murder, and torture and kidnapping. That was held up by the government. That was never paid forward for those people who had their lives ruined. But the people who had their property taken all got reparations, but not the people who were property. I think that's very curious.
But that does beg the question though, like, why do people have this view of him? Well, there are several reasons why. And believe it or not, all of them are purely based on just drama, essentially. The first thing I want to talk about is Shark 300's take on Vosh's beef with Cat Black. If you don't know who Cat Black is, she's a trans black woman who is a leftist who makes content on YouTube. Yes, another leftist content creator. Pretty much everybody I'm going to talk about for the rest of this video are leftists unless otherwise stated. So I'm going to quickly recap, just for brevity. Vosh and Cat Black got into a bit of a verbal squabble. It later led to Cat Black making light of the fact that the two of them used to sext each other, while also publicly making fun of Vosh's dick to basically her entire audience. And this was on Twitter. This wasn't on her channel. She did this on Twitter. In response to this, Shark tweeted out this neat little thread.
No matter what you think of Vosh, what Kat did the other day was 100% sexual harassment, and I think it's plain gross. I always speak highly of Kat, especially in her talks about sex and consent, which makes this even more sad. Revealing intimate conversations and publicly trying to demean and humiliate someone about their genitals is so nasty and manipulative, it genuinely shocks me someone took it with such nonchalance. If I had a falling out with a female streamer and I talked about how we sent lewd text and she had weird tits just apropos of nothing, I hope you all would tear me apart for that. It's so childish, weird, and sexual harassment.
I don't know about you, but this seems like a pretty reasonable thing to say in response to all the drama. I mean, like, he wasn't being, like, vicious or rude or nasty towards Kat in any way at all whatsoever. All he did was call out what he saw as bad behavior. That's it. Nothing else. But the problem is, that didn't really stop people from responding with stuff like this.
It's really disappointing to see you always side with Vosh and throw black women under the bus.
Black women don't get free reign to sexually harass people. I think more highly of them than that. She threw herself under there, and I'm saying it shouldn't have happened. Oh, and it wasn't just Twitter users, by the way. Leftist content creators came after him for this as well.
First of all, F you Shark for being another black man complicit in some racist transphobic bull against a black trans woman. You're really giving leftist Candace Owens vibes. You were so mask off with your bad faith attacks on Cat Black. Shark was the first content creator to push this misinformation that debate bros till this day still latch onto. The hordes of racist white queer people that ran with this to attempt to silence Cat, and anyone calling out the bold transmisogynor. Shark gained a lot of clout and profited off of the attacks. Black trans people don't have to accept contradictory allyship from cis black men, throwing black trans people to the wolves that are debate bros. Cat wasn't the first or the last trans person he's gone after. The clout and access he gained after strategically going after Professor Flowers was the first time I sensed coon vibes from him. At the moment, he lacks any contrition for the hate he pushed. I don't have time to deal with Uncle Ruckus Jr. when my black and brown trans siblings are lacking resources, support, dying, and being murdered. There's a lesson from this that I want leftists and especially Cornburn Tube to understand. To have allyship with black trans folks is so much more than publicly stating your support. To be intersectional with us, you need to include us in your dialogue. You'll need to share your platform to help push nuanced discussions.
The mastermind behind that clip was none other than Soul Bunny. Soul Bunny is a black queer leftist who makes video essays on her YouTube channel. As you can see, she only has a handful of videos, and many of them are dedicated to talking shit about other leftist content creators, particularly those within the debate bro sphere. If you don't know who debate bros are, I'm gonna just quickly explain. About a couple years ago, maybe this is still kind of going on in a sense, there was a huge rift between leftist content creators. One side were video essayists, and the other side were what the video essayists define as debate bros. Debate bros are the ones who do streaming content and often debate other people on their channels. Video essayists just make video essays on YouTube. Basically the type of video that you're watching right now. So if you want to know why there was such a huge, where a lot of this conflict comes from, Soul Bunny was on the video essayist side, essentially. Shark 300 was on the debate bros side, essentially. Now, the clip that I showed you earlier, it came from Soul Bunny's video titled "The White Leftist Industrial Complex." In that video, she chose to set time aside to make disgusting jabs at Shark and imply that he is a turncoat Uncle Ruckus Jr. type, all because he criticized Cat Black for sexual harassment. An Uncle Ruckus Jr. type. She's basically saying that Shark 300 is like, you know, this guy.
Nigga, what you want? I want you over my house cutting my grass like you supposed to be. Well, too bad for you, cause I just took another job. And even though they don't pay hardly nothing, working for white folks look way better on my resume. Damn it, this is the 4th week in a row you cancel on me. The yard looks like a jungle. Well, Chim, you 3 vine swingers should feel right at home. I'll be there when the white man don't need me no more. And let this be yet another reminder that no matter how much money you got, you still just a nigga.
You're talking about this Uncle Ruckus, right?
So you believe God is white?
First of all, white man, let me say that I love you, honor you, envy you, enjoy your smell, and I celebrate you in the name of white Jesus.
Thank you.
Shark 300 is just like this Uncle Ruckus, right?
The key to happiness is to eliminate all black women from your life. I mean, look at me. No black women in my life. Look how happy I am. I'm happy as a nigga with a new gun. Black women don't want to be happy. They squeeze out about 7 or 8 of them little nappy-headed chillin' by the time they 21. It's all downhill from there. Look at that. Oh, that woman's body over there, that's a temple. A black woman's body is a temple of doom.
Sure, whatever you say. Okay. I'm not gonna. I got nothing to say. All right then, sure. Shark 300 is just like that. Fine, whatever. You can say whatever the hell you want to.
Don't you think it's really weird that they care more about people saying Black Lives Matter than they do about carrying around the flag? Like a flag dipped in the blood of slaves, the Confederate flag. That wasn't even the real Confederate flag. It was their battle flag and not even their real one. I think it says a whole lot that this is simply just a fuck you to black people. And then they wonder why we can't heal the divides in the nation. Why can't these divides be healed in the nation? Why is slavery still an open wound in this nation? And then people come out to change one of the most populous states in the entire country to try to teach children, to gaslight children into thinking that slaves benefited from being human property.
Listen, when Shark 300 was criticizing Cat Black, he never said anything transphobic, misogynistic, or anti-black to her. Like, unless you think it's racist, transphobic, and misogynistic to say that it's bad for a black woman to commit sexual harassment, then okay, then fine. I don't know what to say. I guess it's racist to say sexual harassment is bad. Okay, fine, whatever. But listen, like, I don't think Soul Bunny is really that dumb. I don't think she really believes this shit. Honestly, I don't even really think she's dumb at all, actually. Like, if her channel is any indication, she's a fucking genius. Like, this woman is just a drama monger, plain and simple. She goes after people like Shark, Vosh, Xander Hall, and Keffels, mainly because they are good for content. Those names get a lot of views and a lot of clicks. If you want to get a lot of attention on your channel, slap Vosh's face on your thumbnail, slap Vosh's name in the title. There you go. Boom, bada bing, bada boom. There you go. You got a video that's swimming in numbers. Fun fact, my most popular video for a while, before I think a couple new videos of mine ended up getting more popular, was a Vosh video. Like, my channel still isn't even that big right now, but it was way smaller back then. And somehow that video ended up getting like 2K views and I had like, what, 10 subscribers at the time? Yeah, trust me, getting involved in Vosh drama is very good for content. I know that purely from experience. And for Soul Bunny, let's be real. For the type of content that she makes, her channel literally would be nothing without them. Like, this is yet again another example of content creators using drama to gain views and engagement. And this is exactly why I said earlier that drama is entertainment, because it absolutely is. Look at the numbers, man. They don't lie. And if drama is entertainment, then, you know, like I said again, it is profitable. There is a monetary incentive to engage in fabricated drama like this. Now, another reason Shark ended up getting harassed was because, and I kid you not, he was anti-eugenics. Here's a tweet Shark put out in response to some random schmuck on Twitter talking about the decline in melanin in a black family's bloodline.
These black people grow up in broken homes to parents that never wanted them, then unfortunately make it to an age old enough to tweet just to hate on people being in a happy family that they never experienced. This is fatherless behavior and jealousy.
Shark got a lot of shit for this tweet, partially because he used the phrase fatherless behavior. People seem to think that he was referencing this false stereotype that black children often grow up without father figures, or just fathers in general. He wasn't, but he did acknowledge that people can misinterpret it that way though. However, he was trying to point out that people who end up tweeting dumb shit like this are often insecure shitheads who grew up in broken homes and decided to make it everyone's problem. He wasn't talking about black people as a whole. He was talking about specific kinds of people who engage in behavior like this, who happen to be black. I personally think he shouldn't have said this on Twitter, specifically on Twitter. If he had said this on stream, he likely would have articulated it much better than this, while at the same time maintaining the very, I want to say strong rhetoric that he was using in the original tweet. Honestly, in my opinion, I just don't think certain things should be said on Twitter. God damn it, I keep calling it Twitter. I don't really care. It's X now, whatever. I don't give a fuck. Like, but with that website, the character limit makes things difficult to articulate, and oftentimes, especially with the way the culture on that website is, people often have the tendency to misinterpret things on that website, especially when you consider the fact that since the environment is so filled with vitriol and aggression, a lot of people will just read a certain tone into tweets like that, even if it's the complete opposite of the tone that you were going for originally. However, Shark's harassment didn't stop there, because then Shark ended up getting harassed by Endless Cemetery and his audience. If you don't know who Endless Cemetery is, I think he's a content creator on YouTube. I think he's also a streamer as well. He really isn't that big, but like this drama that he did with that he engaged in with Shark ended up getting him a lot of attention. And Endless Cemetery is not a leftist from what I understand. I think he's kind of a fascist, but you'll see why I think that. So Endless Cemetery put out a tweet with the video attached, basically trying to imply that Shark is anti-black.
It's been almost a year since my conversation with Shark 300, and I still can't believe that this is something that actually happened.
What is this thing that he can't believe actually happened? Well, luckily he did attach a video pretty much showing what the thing is. Let's take a look.
But before we go too far, two like questions, okay, and then I'll answer all your questions.
Sure.
If I were to make a tweet, okay, because yeah, I grew up in New York, I grew in Missouri, in St. Louis, and I grew up in Kentucky. Not exactly, I don't have to dox myself, but with that being said, in a lot of the areas I've been around a lot of white people. And when I go to like Atlanta, Georgia or something, or I go to like North Carolina, we visit some family and they live in what I can only describe. Here's how I'll describe it. It's like when I go to see them, it's like what's his name? I was gonna say Kevin Samuels. That's not right. Kendrick Lamar. It's like To Pimp a Butterfly, sort of like an album cover, but in real life. Okay, there's like a Church's Chicken, and then there's like a lot of like poor infrastructure, and then there's like kids riding on beat up BMX bikes, and I'm not sure if I want to walk the streets after the street lights come on. Okay, and that's why I go visit some family every now and again. If I were to make a tweet and it was like, let's take a picture. Okay, I'm just describing to you the picture. These are not words that I'm saying. It's a picture of like stereotypical. Everyone's dressed as like early 2000s Soulja Boy.
So it's
okay. Sure, they look like they're in saggy pants. They bumping in they lowrider, and I go, man. I'm so glad I didn't grow up like these people, and I want to make sure that my family never ends up like, my bloodline never ends up like this. This is insane. Would you feel the same exact way you feel about that tweet as you would if I made that hypothetical tweet?
No.
Okay. My only problem with what Shark said here was that it was long-winded and convoluted. But you can literally tell in the clip that Endless Cemetery himself posted. You can see that Shark was literally doing nothing but set up a hypothetical. The point that Shark was making was that it would be bad for someone to say, well, I don't want my kids growing up in that hood-like culture. Just like it would be bad for another person to say something like, I don't want my bloodline to end up with less melanin. You can disagree with the comparison all you like, but people were getting on Shark's case because they assumed that the hypothetical that he was setting up reflected his actual beliefs. This is just pure unadulterated dishonesty at play here. And it gets even worse when you look at responses like this.
Damn. So Shark don't like niggas?
In response to this person, Endless Cemetery just did nothing but link this clip.
You know how I grew up?
Yeah, we were on a panel together where you said that you were kind of military brat, and correct me if I'm wrong, but on that panel, did you not say that you didn't necessarily heavily identify with your blackness at the time?
It depends on what you mean by like heavily identify. I don't think about it super often. And it's not like a massive part of my brand. If somebody was to ask me about me and I was going to give them like pieces of me, it would be about like things that I've done and things that I enjoy and the people I've been around.
You don't think that your blackness isn't like super crucial or super important about you?
It can be to the ways I'm viewed by other people, but to me myself, no.
Okay. Well, why is that?
I like being black. I would not like to change it if I had the anti-black button.
Sure.
But it's just not, I don't think about it that often.
So what Endless Cemetery is getting at is that Shark hates black people because he doesn't make being black his identity? Good lord, bruh. A lot of the clips being used here came from a debate that Shark had with Emma Cemetery, basically discussing bloodlines and melanin and all that type of shit. I'm just gonna show you a highlight from that debate, just so you can get a good feel for the type of person that Emma Cemetery is.
Wait, let me ask this question. I want to switch it around. Do you think that if you specifically have dark-skinned children, are you fighting back against white supremacy?
Yes, because you're procreating more dark-skinned people.
So
you're doing the opposite of what
when you make more dark-skinned people, you're fighting against white supremacy. But when you make more light-skinned people, you're not helping white supremacy.
Because those kids are still black.
But you said, well, dark skin is what was the important part for you, right?
Yeah.
Oh, once again, you're telling me you would be fighting against white supremacy to have dark-skinned children, but you would not be helping white supremacy when you have light-skinned children.
Black people having children at all is fighting against white supremacy.
Are you not helping as much? Are you helping less, or are you hurting more than somebody having dark-skinned children?
You are okay. So in terms of black people, you're not really, it's like neutral. Because if you're a black person, your kids are going to be black. That's what blackness is.
But we're talking about dark skin here.
Okay, so if we're talking about dark skinned people on an individual basis, it's kind of inconsequential. But yeah, if you, as a whole, as a group, if the majority of dark skinned people decided that they wanted to have kids with lighter skinned people for whatever reason, then that would be the completion of the goal of white supremacy, whether they were conscious of it or not.
This guy is, for all intents and purposes, a eugenicist. So many leftists were siding with a eugenicist just so they can shit on Shark. That's it. That's all it is. They're siding with someone as one of the most far-right black people on Twitter because they want to shit on Shark. It is starting to become a habit for the leftists to join up with fascists when it's convenient for them. Like, honestly, it really makes me sick to my stomach to see that shit happen. This is not the first or last time that this happened. Oh, and far be it from me to leave Jesse Gender out of this shit.
But I once threw a cat in anger. Again, no real reason. I don't even remember what the argument was. I was just pissed off. So I picked up the nearest thing near me. Didn't see it as a living being. Just picked up my cat and threw it across the room. That cat was scared of me for the rest of its life.
Because Jesse Jenner wants to go around fucking liking dog shit tweets like these. For context, this image is from Django. The black character is apparently hugging his slave master. The black character is obviously meant to represent Shark, and the slave master is likely meant to represent people like Vosh and Xander Hall. Listen, I haven't seen the movie Django, so don't shit on me, alright? Jesse Gender is supposed to be a leftist, by the way. Like, I don't have a problem with white people calling out turncoats like Candace Owens and Officer Tatum and people like them. But Jesse Gender is literally disgusting for liking shitty tweets like this. And this tweet is basically essentially calling Shark a cuck slave. Yes, Jesse, one of the whitest motherfuckers in left Twitter, is calling Shark a cuck slave. What the fuck? And it's even more disgusting because Shark literally is far from a turncoat. Jesse basically co-signed this tweet because Shark had beef with her black friends. That's it. Jesse Gender is just a piece of shit. She makes some good content. Her takedown of Matt Walsh was really good. Her Andor analysis was really good. She generally has very insightful media takes on her channel. Like, she makes a lot of really decent video. I'm never gonna fuck with this piece of shit ever again. I fucking hate racist ass leftists like this. Like, I don't know what else to call that. That is just straight up racism. Do better, Jesse Gender. Do better. So Shark addresses everything, basically all the drama that came flying in his direction in this video right here titled Addressing the Allegations. I highly suggest you watch it. It's a good video, and I'm not just saying that because he shouted me out at the end. Shark makes a lot of solid and well-made points here. His response sums up perfectly how toxic online political community. But in this video, Shark says something very interesting.
I consider like other content creators and everything co-workers here. To some degree.
This is a sentiment that he's repeated many times before, and honestly, I agree with him wholeheartedly. I will be coming back to this particular thing later on in the video. So after this video was released, Shark would later go on Demon Mama's stream to talk to her about all the harassment that he's faced. And in their conversation, I just want to play something that Shark says that I also agree with.
He went for me. Like I don't know what more to do with these people, and that's why I'm just like I gotta cut away from these people because I don't know what more to say. I don't know how better I could have treated any of these people than what I did already. It just seems like there's nothing I can say or do, and that's why I didn't make the video for them because there's nothing I can say or do that's going to change their mind. So it just seems like they're just monsters, and I have to get away from them. That's it. They're the Wendigo, and I'm doing like quick time events and to wait until dawn on it.
Now, what Shark is saying here doesn't just apply to the group that he's referring to. Most of the shit that he was getting, like I said before, were mainly from stuck-up video essayists that had a problem with Debate Bros, which is a group he's ostensibly a part of. When he said that, Shark was basically calling people on the video essayist side of the debate the monsters. But I'm gonna tell you right now, what Shark says here applies to the Debate Bro side as well. And I think I made that clear enough with how I discussed Xanderhall and Keffels and other figures like them. The entire online left is just poison. Like, they are monsters and you have to get away from them. Keep your distance, friends. It's not something worth touching. You can be a leftist and you can be an internet and you can be fine. What you shouldn't do is get involved with these communities. They almost always fall apart. Not almost, they always fall apart. And before I move on, I feel like it's necessary that I touch on the eugenics thing. I just gotta say this. I don't care about how much melanin is in my bloodline. I'm not a eugenicist. I'm not far right. I am a radical leftist. That's just how it is. And me not caring about my bloodline does not make me anti-black at all. And it certainly doesn't make me pro-white supremacy either. If you think that it does, then you have no idea why white supremacy is bad. White supremacy is bad because it oppresses people who aren't white. Just that simple. And the problem with that is that being white or being any other color that's not white is 110%, sorry, 200%, 300% out of your control. You have no control over what skin color you are. You have no control over what race you are. And since you have no control over those qualities, being oppressed for those qualities makes it 100% unfair and unjust. If you really want to dismantle white supremacy at the seams, you have to do away with these labels like white and black and other shit like that. But that is a long-term goal. We can't do that yet. Like, not in my lifetime, not in my grandkids' lifetime. But we have to be making an effort to try and later on down the line, remove these labels altogether. We need to be introspective about this shit. Because the thing is, those labels literally only exist because of white supremacy. Literally, it was essentially a way to separate slaves from masters, among other things. And the crazy part is that dichotomy still exists today. It has only just taken new forms. I don't give a shit about skin color or the labels that were forced on me by white supremacy. I care about making sure people aren't disenfranchised. And right now, in current day America, the people who have the label black are the more disenfranchised group. So by consequence of that, I am pro-black. Like, I'm a good person. I mean, like, well, I try to be a good person. I try to start with empathy first and form my values and beliefs around that. I don't start with skin color. I don't start with melanin. All right, bro, we're gonna have to stop right there. We're gonna have to stop right there. This is the end of part 1. Part 2 will come out honestly, I don't fucking know, man. I'm working on it, dog. You're just going to have to wait and see when it comes out. So there you go. That's it. I don't know what else to say besides just wait until that shit releases. Yeah, anyway, hope you enjoyed listening to me rant about all this crazy shit. And goodbye. Bye-bye.
Hi there, I'm Paul Perkenstein, and welcome to the wide world of web. Today's segment, Internet Chat Rooms. Hello, how are you today? Oh, it appears Greg has challenged our manhood. We need to find out everything we can about his interests, fears, and most of all, his family. Oh, look, he has a daughter. Let's copy and paste that with the response, the only pussy I know is your daughter's. Now he appears to be threatening me. Looks like it's time to send our friend Greg a bright, shiny gift. Just make sure to add in Greg's address with your purchase.
You've got mail.
I'm Paul Perkenstein, and this is the wide world of web.